What's up, guys? This is Maxwell Media Inc. I'm your host, Sir Maxwell, and we're back for another episode of Queer Coded. I'm here with my lovely co-host Al, and today we are talking about DC and its relationship with queer people, its queer characters, and how we feel about them. Before we get into that, just some housekeeping things. 2023 life was it was kind of bumpy, and I didn't get as many of these out as I wanted, but with my new recording schedule and the way I've reorganized my time, y'all should at least get one of these a month, like actually get one of these a month now. So this should be the January one. I really shouldn't take me that long to edit anymore, because me and Al have gotten some new equipment, and things should just be better. So, and because it seems like y'all are really enjoying these, so we're happy to keep making them. But before we get into the video, Al, how are you? How was life? How was your holiday season?
Freezing and a lot of work. Made a lot of money though, so that's always a positive. But you know,
making money.
Yep. Working through the holidays, just my deal. But you charge extra on those holidays. Federal holiday,
Yeah.
Like I had some unfortunate things happen in but I like one of the pets I take care of unfortunately passed away. That was rough.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But I'm still taking care of his brother, and I don't think anyone really cares too much about that. We're here to talk about gayness and superheroes.
Right. We are sorry about the dog though. That's sad.
Yeah, he was a sweetie.
Okay, but so, we're gonna start with the already canonized characters, and then we'll kind of move on halfway through, and we'll talk about some of the coding, because I really feel like the coded characters, they're just as important as the canon characters. Well, I don't want to say just as important, but almost just as important as the canon characters to a lot of people. So I'm excited to get into the coded characters too. But
it's a complicated relationship, I would say, in terms of coding versus canon. Because, again, there'll be canon queer characters that were made this way, sort of out of the blue. There were no real strong hints for it, which there's nothing wrong with, because, some people just, snap your fingers, figure out they're queer like that. But, other characters, there has been build-up. I would also say there are some characters that we're going to go over that I honestly think were only done as PR, really. I have some thoughts on Alan Scott's Green Lantern. I still appreciate him. His current comic book, y'all should read it. It's really good. It's actually high gay drama, but I have some issues in the way he came out, and we'll get into that.
Yes. So I actually, y'all know me. I'm from Texas. I'm from the South, and ladies first here. So let's talk about Wonder Woman. I think that Wonder Woman is one of those characters that she's canonized to be queer, but when you think about queer characters, a lot of people don't think about Wonder Woman, which is wild to me, because her whole thing is I come from an island of just women's. So I don't understand why she does not get the accolades that other queer characters get. Maybe it's because her quote unquote main love interests have always kind of been men, but I still feel I don't know, Wonder Woman still deserves her flowers for being bisexual.
Yeah, the thing is with Wonder Woman, her canon, I would say, is definitely the most queer out of all of the DC universe, because she comes from an island of lesbians. Her mom is a lesbian. She is Hippolyta is married to a black woman named Philippus, and Philippus was a very minor character at first, but they in more recent comics they've gradually increased her importance, and they've even done in retrospective comics about Hippolyta and Philippus raising Diana as a young girl. So having Philippus be more of an actual mother figure to Diana, is really cool and really neat. And There's a lot of other queer characters, like Diana's sister Nubia is dating a woman right now. And she is canonically bisexual. There was like some question if she was a lesbian or not, but she's like had sexual tension with men as well. But like she's very much more like she's dating a woman right now. And I'm trying to think of other almost every Wonder member of the Wonder Woman lore is queer. I would that I can think of off the top, except for okay, Steve Trevor has been very heavily bi-coded, but we'll get back to him. But another notable figure would be Artemis. She was like the ginger Wonder Woman who took over for Diana for a while, and she's like a lot more rowdy. Like she gets into shit. In the main comic canon, they've not clearly established quite as much that she is bisexual. There's like one allusion to it in the Red Hood and the Outlaws comic, but in the webtoon comics, which are not comic canon, and honestly, I have thoughts about that comic, but she does have she actually dated a Gorgon, like a girl with the snake hair, and I was like, ooh. Why can't we get this in the main books? This is I'm get rid of Jason Todd. Like get this Amazon Warrior dating a Gorgon. That's awesome. Like come on.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there still is things I'm a little bit sour on. Like there should be certain characters definitely should be Cassie Sandsmark, Wonder Girl, and Donna Troy. Absolutely should be I'm especially with the way those girls are always forced into romantic relationships with all of the men around them, especially Donna Troy. Donna Troy is probably one of the biggest victims of this issue with the misogynistic treatment of women in comics, in the dating thing. Have her date give her a girlfriend, let her date Raven, or from the Teen Titans comics, let her have that. But that's just one of the things. But there's also actually Diana had a love interest about 2-3 years ago who was a pansexual man when she was hanging out in Asgard, with the Norse gods, and his name is Siegfried, and he has had ex-boyfriends, and he's been very heavily implied to have been having a sexual or romantic affair with Steve Trevor, because they're living together, and he's coming in wearing nothing and talking about how much he loves Steve and constantly. It's you read the comics and it's very hard to not walk away with the impression Siegfried and Steve are sleeping together. But Siegfried though has ex-boyfriends in the canon, it's clear cut, which is actually really cool. And but yeah, that's
Wonder Woman. I think from a lot of the queer representation, you do have to go to the comics. I think in terms of mainstream film, television representation of her, they don't really move into that angle, which is really unfortunate. And I hope that with the new DC Universe situation that James Gunn has going on, whatever he ends up doing with Wonder Woman, we finally get a version of her that acknowledges her queer roots.
Yeah, it just establish her having an ex-girlfriend or just something small like that. That would mean a lot, or there was a comic a spin-off of the Harley Quinn animated series where it was pretty much stated that Vixen and Wonder Woman dated at one point, and I would actually love to visit that in canon at some point. Can we have that, please? But yeah, Wonder Woman does have an extra. I can't remember her name right now. I think it's Alina or Alira. But we haven't seen her in a while. But it would be nice for Diana to get a more consistent love interest. I love her and Steve Trevor. They're one of the few straight ships in comics I'm actually seated for. But I would actually love to see her with there are another two queer characters in Wonder Woman's lore I need to. There's Etta Candy, who's Wonder Woman's best friend, and Cheetah, aka Barbara Ann Minerva. Now, Dr. Barbara Ann Minerva, I think she's a lesbian. I'm pretty sure, like, she's not been, like, shown to really have any strong sexual interest in men in the current comic canon. And she has been flirting a lot with Etta Candy. She even tried kissing her in the comic run before the current one I hate by Tom King. But so, like, Cheetah is queer, but Etta is dating a woman. Like, Etta Candy has, like, an interesting history because, like, she was initially like white and straight and, like, married to Steve Trevor even in some canons. But then she, like, in the New 52, the New 52 was terrible, but it had, a silver lining. It made Etta Candy a black lesbian, and I'm like,
We always need more black lesbians.
Yeah, it was just awesome, and, like, she's a very fundamental element to Wonder Woman. Like, she's basically like Wonder Woman's Jimmy Olsen in many ways, and she's lovely. Like, we need more Etta love in comics. Like, but that's as much as I can really think of off the top of my head in the Wonder Woman lore. I mean, Wonder Woman also has a brother that's gay, but, like, no one likes her brother, so why bother going?
Where did she get her brother from?
It was like in Rebirth.
Themyscira be letting men in? I didn't know Themyscira let men in.
It was dumb. Like, it was a dumb prophecy that Wonder Woman, like, the first man on Themyscira would destroy it, and then Wonder Woman went, like, tracking him down, and was like, oh my god, his name's Jason, but then he got, like, manipulated into fighting against her and shit. He's not been, like, in the comic canon for a while. Well, like, the last time we saw him, he was getting attacked with his boyfriend, but, like, they're probably fine. I don't think he was ever very popular, so, I think he's probably not going to be, like, seen again. And for, I don't know, maybe they could bring him back and do something interesting. Like, I always have been a component of make him Philippus's son. And, like, I feel like, give Philippus a more interesting role, and also maybe, like, a parallel in some way. I don't know. I feel like that could be a cool thing to do, but like, Wonder Woman herself, like, let her date a woman. Come on, DC. Like, give her a girlfriend.
Yeah. Speaking of, well, because I feel like it's fitting to go
nice.
from. I feel like it would be fitting to go from a queer woman in comics that doesn't get a lot of recognition for being queer to one that does. So let's move on and talk about one of my personal favorite lesbians in comics, Batwoman. Now, the tea on Batwoman is allegedly, I don't know how true this is, but allegedly DC did not like the Batmen were gay rumors, so they were like, you know what, let's make Batwoman and she'll be gay, and then maybe they'll stop talking about Bruce. But spoilers, that did not make us stop talking about Bruce at all. How do you feel about Batwoman?
So I'm familiar with Kate Kane's history a lot. Like it was a thing. There was that crazy weirdo who was homophobic and who wrote The Seduction of the Innocent or whatever, and he cited Batman and Robin as like the gays are converting the children, but when there's no homoerotic tension whatsoever between Batman and Robin in those comics. It's ridiculous to cite that at all. Like, the man was just inventing up nonsense. But like Batman has queer coding with other characters, but with Robin, that's his son. Let's leave that alone. But the comic writers panicked and were like, okay, we need to give him a love interest. So they created Kate Kane's Batwoman and Bet Kane Batgirl as a corresponding character to be see, he's heterosexual. But then she never really caught on too much in the comic canon. She did come back and she got brought back in the 2000s more so with the reinvention of being a lesbian, because they were well, the whole reason she was created in the first place was because of of anxiety about homophobia, so we're just gonna make her gay. And they also made her Jewish. The thing is, all these choices, even her name, Kate Kane, is a homage to, Gil Kane, one of the creators of Batman, and who is also Jewish. and like that's why she's Jewish in the comic book canon, because like it's a like she's very much a love letter to Gil Kane, and actually like there's a whole aspect to Gil Kane and Bill Finger, because like they both had contrasting views about the Batman kill rule, and like Bill Finger's viewpoint about Batman kind of took over his lore more so, but Kate Kane is more willing to kill, which was more Gil Kane's perspective on what Batman should do. So like they like passed on Gil's philosophy into Kate, which I think like is a very interesting aspect and angle to her. But she's also had a lot of like do you know about like the whole thing with her and Maggie Sawyer?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I knew that they were in a relationship in the comics, but I'm not really sure how or why that even ended.
So the writers were planning on having Maggie and Kate get married, but the Dan Didio at the time claimed that he didn't want any superheroes to get married because superheroes aren't supposed to be happy like that or something. Like the man's a weirdo. He doesn't. But
doesn't Spider-Man get married all the time?
I don't even want to get started on that. But like
okay.
Like there's a lot of he broke up a lot of superhero marriages. He broke up Wally and Linda. He broke up Clark and Lois. He was like trying to go scorched earth on romantic relationships like that, and it was very weird and absurd and unnecessary. Especially because there's plenty of single superheroes, but in the end of it all, he brought that down on Kate Kane too, which like you could argue the motivation wasn't homophobic, but I still think it is, because like I feel like the thing is, that was like a real intent, like the whole point of the gay marriage between Kate Kane and Maggie Sawyer that was pitched was like to call out the homophobic laws preventing gay marriage at the time. So like he was silencing voices like trying to speak out against the homophobic laws of the time. So like even if that wasn't like his like conscious intention, the effect was still homophobic, and because like he should have, like, if a real ally or just a normal person would have recognized, okay, this is an important thing. It's homophobic, and also like again, Dan Didio, what are you losing? I'm sorry, but like, are you like I get, like, the thing is, I get it almost if you're a straight man and you're projecting onto like straight male superheroes, but I'm like, but you're not a lesbian, like so why can't you just let the girls have their thing? Like, come on, like
because straight men can never let the girls have their thing. The straight men always have to like find some way to get in it.
Yeah, and it's really sad because now people have tried to justify the decision in canon. Like there was I fucking despise Tom Taylor for this, but in his Nightwing book, he was like, oh, they didn't get married because Kate Kane was too devoted to her job and she wasn't being considerate of Maggie. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Why are you making Kate Kane take the hit for the editorial homophobia? It's just...
Yeah. You're making the characters and by proxy the audience suffer for like shit that wasn't even their fault.
Yeah, like, I'm like, and the thing is, I'm like, you could have just like had a thing and be like, oh, Kate was kidnapped and and separated, and Maggie was like I don't know, like, make a reason that doesn't put the onus on Kate, especially because like you're not like, it's not like you're even developing anything with Kate, and again, like, Kate is a victim in this, and her and Maggie are victims, so there's a very of the homophobic editorial, so there's a very weird like underlying theme of like putting the onus on one of the women for why the marriage didn't happen, and it honestly feels like erasure, and I utterly despise it. And like, the thing is, even in the Batman Arkham games, actually they actually put in an Easter egg voicemail call of where like Kate calls Bruce and she mentions that she and Maggie got married. And the thing is, they specifically put that in there because DC prevented the marriage. And they were going to be like, okay, you know what? Kate and Maggie are married, at least in one canon. And I'm like, I have a lot of issues with the Arkham Knight game, but that is one of the praises I will give it.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like that was the least they could do. I, for me, with Kate Kane, I knew about her, but I didn't really like, because I don't really read comics a lot, so I didn't really get introduced to her until her CW show starring Ruby Rose, and I loved at least the first part of season one. I really loved it, enjoyed it. I thought, I thought they were doing something new and different, and I was having a really, really good time with it. And, for reasons, Ruby Rose left the show, and instead of canceling the show or recasting the character, they decide to replace her and create a new character called Ryan Wilder. And they pitched this to us like, okay, well, yeah, you're losing Kate Kane, but you're gonna get Ryan Wilder, and she'll be like this, like, new, interesting, like, black lesbian character, da 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 da. And it's not that I was opposed to the idea of that, because that sounds cool, but it's like, I kind of like started the show for Kate, and like the show is about Kate and like her relationships, like her father's in it, her sister's in it, her best friend whose father was working for Alfred. I don't know, but like it basically was about Kate Kane and her relationships with people. So to take Kate Kane out of it and replace it with the new girl, I just felt like that completely defeated the purpose of the show, because now all of the supporting characters have no connection to this Ryan girl. I've never watched season 2, and I have no intentions of watching it, but I'm just saying, like, it's just I didn't like it, and it didn't sound like a good idea to me, and it felt like punishing Batwoman fans and the audience for whatever was going on behind the scenes with the actors and the production, whatever. Like, that's not our fault. And honestly, watching the show, a plot point in season 1 was that the villains were these, amorphous, sort of like mysterious characters who could like get a surgery at the drop of a dime and get a new face. So if you really needed to recast her, you could have just given her a new face. But I digress. I just feel like the cancellation of Batwoman was one of the worst things I've ever seen in comics TV history, and I'm still bitter about it.
I'm in the thing is, Ruby Rose was always a miscast to me because she was not Jewish. But I do want to say I feel bad that Ruby Rose went through a very horrific injury and apparently nearly died on the set. It nearly broke her back. And apparently there were other accidents that happened on set. Like, there's a lot of hearsay and a lot of arguing. And there's, I also don't want to, dismiss the fact that apparently there was, some claims by other cast members of racism on Ruby Rose's part. And also...
Ooh, yeah, that's, bad.
And there was a lot of different things going in and around that whole thing. But, I agree with you. It feels like they should have just recast Kate Kane, and especially it feels like it had the opportunity to, I'm like, okay, get a Jewish actor in there, but they didn't do that, and they got Ryan Wilder in there, and Ryan is sort of from the comics. She's a background character in a few things, and they teased the idea of her coming in and being a more significant character, but then they never did anything with her, which I find weird. But yeah, and I feel like the thing is, I would actually love for Kate Kane to have her own Robin or have a protege, because she's earned it by this point. That would be great for her. Batman has 5 fucking Robins. Why can't Kate Kane have one? And Batwoman deserves that. That would be cool. I'm just saying. But the unfortunate thing is Kate Kane, out of all the main members of the Bat family, gets the worst end of the stick, I would actually argue. Who, the only person I think who gets fucked over more is Duke Thomas and Tim Drake. They're just not really given a lot to do. And it's unfortunate, because Kate's just kind of kept on the sidelines and not really allowed to be in and when she is used, it's in a very out of place way or anti-Semitically. I still think Megan Fitzmartin's writing, using Batwoman with like claiming she was a child murderer, like in the Tim Drake Robin run, was very out of pocket, out of nowhere, unnecessary, and anti-Semitic. But I don't want to get too off of that for right now. But like Batwoman just is a character with a lot of deep, meaningful aspects to, like, in both, like, in the Batman lore, especially because like through her, Batman is canonically Jewish. But just like, I know she's getting a comic, but like it's in charge of the Outsiders, and she has nothing to do with the Outsiders. She should not be in charge of this team. But you know, at least Kate's getting content, I guess.
I also want to add that it frustrates me deeply that this Ryan Wilder character is kind of set up to fail, because, okay, I actually, like, if this wasn't, like, erasing Kate Kane, I would love the idea of, like, a black female member of the Bat family. I would love that. That would be great. But it just feels like when you do it like this, you kind of set up the character to get unnecessary ire and just not good vibes towards them, and I really hate that for the character in general. But I'm sure at the time it wasn't a pleasant time for the actress that was taking on that role either, so that sucks. That's unfortunate, and I do think that probably would have been a better idea, that what you said about giving Kate Kane a Robin, because she has earned it, and I think it's time.
Yeah, it would be very interesting, and I mean, like, you give all these, like, there's so many Batman characters. Just let her have this. But anyway, I think we should move on to like I feel like we should also mention some of her prominent I mean, she has a lot of ex-girlfriends in the comics, but like the two of the most significant is Maggie Sawyer and Renee Montoya. And it's kind of unfortunate, I think, because Renee Montoya was a vigilante herself. She was like one of the iterations of the Question. But she hasn't really been allowed to be. They keep putting her in like the cop role in a lot of media and even in the current comics, and I'm just like, just let Renee be the Question again. Renee had a very complex story because she was outed as a lesbian and fired from the police force, and she was like, you know, fuck you, and became the Question. And I'm like, that was like a really cool story and angle to Renee, but like they've just kind of weirdly kept kind of putting her in this weird, like, one of the good cops angle to her, and I would prefer if they just brought her back and kept her as the Question.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Who else has Batwoman dated?
There was like, well, she's been into Zatanna, but they've never dated. I know she was like, she had a crazy ex-girlfriend. Well, she's not crazy, but she I don't know, it was this woman who ruled an island, and she was like, I'm gonna destroy you, Kate Kane, like, you know, like very much like, you know, like enemy lover kind of things. Kate, like, I'd say Kate's like she doesn't have a lot of other like she has a couple of girlfriends, but none of them are like really standouts. Like, the relationship that's like gotten the most focus with her in the recent comics, I would actually say, is probably her sister, like getting her sister back, like Alice or Beth Kane, like, because that was like a storyline that was like teased and then didn't really, like, I don't know. They brought Beth back, but I feel like they need to do more with Beth, like, because I'm like, you know, she's like Batwoman's sister and Batman's cousin, and I feel like you could do a lot with her, especially because she was traumatized, raised by a religious cult, like, witnessed her mother dying. Like, there's a lot you could do with Beth Kane, but, like, I don't know, it's, like, Kate has, like, been sort of, like, grouped now a lot more with Tim Drake, because of, well, honestly, just because of the fact they're both queer. And, like, I think that, like, sometimes it's well handled. Like, I actually think the Wayne Family Adventures comic like really did a good job with Beth and Tim's relationship, but the current comic book canon I don't think has. Like, Beth, like, I flat out accosted Bernard, Tim's boyfriend, and was like talking down about him and like saying that love interest never lasts. Like, I hate the writing for that Robin comic. It's bad, but
Speaking of which, do you just want to start talking about Tim Drake? He's next on my canon list.
I kind of wanted to talk about like some of the other queer women in the Batman lore, but I'm fine with going into Tim.
Okay, so Tim is bisexual. How do you feel about that?
Well, the thing is, it's been coming for a long time. Like, he has been heavily queer-coded for years. And, like, there's even been writers who admitted that Tim and Connor was specifically written with homoerotic tension around them. Like, there's even, like, a Notorious panel where, like, Tim is, like, crying over Connor and Cassie's also crying over Connor, and they're making out both thinking about Connor. And I'm like... I think everyone was just like, okay, Tim, you've got some things you need to answer for. Like...
Right.
Like, Tim is like in love with Superboy, and the comics have even sort of low-key acknowledged that, but the comics refuse to like let Superboy answer or reciprocate for some reason. Apparently, we just can't have gay superheroes actually be gay and date each other. DC, because DC Comics just won't let us have that. But like Tim. Like, the thing is, I'm kind of exhausted from a lot of the... because, like, the thing is, everyone always hates on Tim, and it's only gotten worse since he's been, like, canonized as queer. Like, I even had a friend who, like she used to, like, shade Tim a lot because she was like, oh, it's fun to dump on Tim because he's a mess. But she stopped doing it because she's like, every time I did it, homophobes would show up in my replies. She's like, I couldn't just, like... funly mock him anymore. Like it just became a thing, and like it was just a lot of negativity that was constant, and like kind of ruined Tim Drake for me, in all honesty. Like, he has a lot of great comics, and he did like he has really, I think, like he really has like done a lot of great things in the Robin mantle. But, like, everyone kind of, like, sees him in a competition with Damian and, like, and resents him for being in the Robin role still while Damian is around, even though Damian has kind of created this issue of biological essentialism at DC Comics where, like, the adopted children of superheroes are now invalidated in favor of their biological ones. And people might say, but that's like not true. No, it's very true, because like Damian like is like has various top points even in the comic canon said to be the true son of Bruce Wayne because he's biological, and his adopted kids like Jason and Tim are invalidated very heavily, like all over the place, and it gets to be exhausting. It gets to be very, very exhausting because I'm like, you shouldn't be in like even Cassie Sandsmark, Wonder Girl, and Sissy, I can't remember her last name, Arrowette, like we're in one of the recent comics were like saying, oh, Batman's your fake dad, and I'm like, that's a really fucking shitty thing to say to someone who was adopted. It's just very out of pocket, unkind, and badly written, and especially that Cassie never really and Sissy never really apologized for that, and it's just kind of kept going, especially where Tim is like literally kind of being phased out of a lot of adapted media of DC Comics outside of the Titans TV show. Like, I remember there was like a Lego movie thing recently where it was all of like the Bat family. They even had Batwoman. It was like with the Red Hood Lego, and they had Nightwing, and they had Damian, and Kate Kane, and Barbara Gordon as Batgirl instead of Oracle. That's a whole different can of worms. But like they had the whole Bat family basically, but they were like, nope, we're just gonna skip over Tim Drake entirely. And I think that's just a little disheartening that like the only queer member of the Bat family kind of just got like is getting exercised. You say something, Maxwell? You there?
Yeah,
like he's getting exercised a lot more from like adaptive media.
Yeah. Yeah, because I really can't think of anything else I've really seen him in recently outside of the Titans TV show, which is good, and I'm still bitter they canceled that. Like the first season we got Tim and Bernard. They were like, you know what, we can't have too much of a good thing, so we're gonna cancel that. I'm really bitter about that. I hate that for us. We always lose. We never have nice things.
The thing is, like, I'm actually impressed they were actually got out there and were like, okay, we're giving Tim his boyfriend. Because most media, like, when there is, like, a more immediate coming out, like, they don't usually adapt that in. Like they didn't do that with Star-Lord, like, back when the Guardians of the Galaxy movies were coming out.
I remember that. I was thinking, because as soon as that came out, I was like, oh, babes. Oh, babes. Which Chris is he? He's one of the Chris's. The Chris that plays Star Lord, I was like, he would never go for that. Pratt. He would never go for
Yeah,
like,
Chris Pratt would never like go for but like the thing is like Star Lord was meant as bi. Like he was like planned as bi years ago, it didn't get put in, but then they like people at Marvel were like, okay, we're gonna put it in. And it was kind of a miracle that came out that like he got to actually be like in a hot tub cuddling up to a man and a woman at the time like that those movies were coming out, especially because like Marvel like put the kibosh on a lot of queer characters. Like Ironheart was actually supposed to be dating Vision's daughter, but they were like the comic writer was like they said no basically to Riri being queer because they wanted to market her in the MCU.
But you know what's tea about that? The Riri Williams we got in the MCU, as soon as she walked on stage, we were like, we know what you are. like I don't know if you've seen Wakanda Forever, but like her and Shuri, they were vibing.
That was they were the last that was the last good Marvel movie outside of Guardians 3. Like
they were vibing. So it's like whoever tried to put the kibosh on the MCU with Riri, you failed. You failed. As soon as like Shuri walked in her room and she spoke, I was like, I know what you are. I know what you are, babes. Like, oh my god. Even Shuri herself, like her androgynous style in that second movie, ate down. We got to do a Marvel version of this one day because I could talk, but we're talking about DC right now. Yeah. Tim. But TLDR, I feel like Tim is a great character. I think that he doesn't get enough respect. I think that he doesn't get enough love. I think that he's overhated. I think that Damian Wayne is a piece of shit. I said it. I don't like Damian.
I could like him. The thing, I actually do, but my issue with him is that he stole his mother's character and kind of like resulted in her getting ruined. And because like a lot of the villain, like her whole arc. This is a tangent, I'm very sorry to the queer stuff, but I wanted to say this because I'm a big Talia al Ghul fan, is that her whole thing was that she was, like, put between her father's, like, fascist philosophy, and Batman's more, like, justice above all kind of philosophy, and, like, she broke away to just kind of do her own thing and, like, refused to, like, be stuck in the middle. Oh, really? But then they like the thing when they introduced Damian, they basically gave him that conflict and reduced Talia to basically being a henchman of Ra's al Ghul and following strictly in his philosophy. So they sacrificed her character for Damian's, which I find to be very frustrating. Like I still think like I don't think anyone who who enjoys Damian is wrong to do so. But, like, I do think they get a little weird. Like, there was, like, Damian fans who, like, talk more about how much they hate Tim than actually about how they enjoy Damian. And I'm like, look, at this point, can you just stop? Like, I'm like, because, like, people will kind of, like, go under the current of, well, Damian is a person of color, and that's why. And I'm like, yeah, that's valid for you. But, like, I would also, like, use the point that, like, Tim is also, like, you can't escape like the vibe of homophobia when you're hating on like the only queer man in the Bat family. Like I don't think it's intended in every scenario, but like my friend stopped doing it because it was giving that tone. And if you're still doing it at this point, it's giving that tone. I don't care if you're queer as well. It's just it gives that tone, unfortunately.
Another tangent. and I'm gonna make another smaller video about this. But do you notice, like, recently with like queer people ages 18 to 29, like they just say like they're basically homophobic for fun, and like at first it was kind of ironically funny, and now it's just kind of like, you know, you see somebody gay and like you see somebody gay that you don't like, and they're just like faggot, and it's like that's the joke, like that's the tweet, like that's it, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I thought we were joking. No, you're not. Oh,
look, I think that a lot of the queer community is very unfortunate. Is unfortunately, I don't know how it developed into this, but it's become this like oppression Olympics nonsense, and constantly trying to say, oh, I have it worse than you, when I'm like, no, we just have different nuances to the specific experiences of our oppression, and like you have your deal, I have my deal. Well, like I always go back to the study that was like, okay, trans women are far more likely to be killed if they are attacked, though trans men are far more frequently attacked in the bathroom space. Like, so like, and I'm like, no, there's no I would rather have this kind of situation, because like it's bad either way. You're either getting attacked more, or the chance of you getting killed if you are attacked is high. Like there's no like it's just a different nuance to the different experiences of our oppression, and no one has it specifically better, unless we're like taking things from like a cis versus trans, or from like a white versus like Jewish, or Goyish versus white, or white versus black, or white versus Asian.
Yeah,
and,
or you
like,
know, white and non-white, essentially.
Yeah, I do think there are I remember there was this girl on TikTok who was like constantly like hating on gay people and being like white gays, and I'm like, you're white, like so she was really like kind of using white gays as a euphemism, like as a way of like being homophobic, because like the thing is, like if you're saying that as a white person, like it's not the same context as in if a black person is saying that, because like again, like they are talking about the way white supremacy like, you know, is being utilized by like they're like the supremacy they do fit into is being weaponized in their marginalization, and that is something worth talking about, especially from like queer people of color. But like if you're not a member of the queer community, or if you're white yourself, I don't know, maybe phone it in a little bit, or like maybe like just like more properly contextualize is what you're saying at the very least, or I don't know, just like maybe, I don't know, just my prerogative. You probably would have a better input on this than I would.
I have thoughts, but before I get back to what I was saying, I just feel like I don't know what's going on with the kids these days, but I hope we move in a different direction, because it's getting weird. But yeah, y'all, that was Tim Drake. I want to talk about spoilers, we filmed this about 5 times now. Every time we film this, I get this man's name wrong. So I'm about to say this man's name, and then Al is about to correct me. So, Jonathan Ken. Is that the gay one? That the bisexual one?
He's bisexual, yeah.
Yes. Gotcha. Okay. Yes. Okay. First time I got it right, guys. Last 2 or 3 times I recorded this, I think I said Connor. But Jonathan, I would say it was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, it was revealed that he was queer and he had a boyfriend, Jay McNamara, I think that's his name.
Yep.
Yes, and it was a cute little comic picture with them kissing on it, and I gagged because I was like, oh my god, a Superman is like bisexual, that's great. everybody else was like, oh my god, how could you do that? Like, instead of like turning our, beloved, superheroes gay, why don't y'all just make your own superheroes? And it's like, they didn't have enough wherewithal to like actually read what was going on, to know that this is not Clark Kent, that this is his son, Jonathan Kent, and like, we're not turning Clark Kent gay, even though, because I feel like you can't turn somebody gay who's already gay, so we can't turn Clark Kent gay. But what we can do, like, because, like, hello, Bruce Wayne. But I'm just saying, like, we can't turn somebody gay who's already gay, but what we can do, we can create new characters that are out sooner. We can create characters that are already, like, coming out as they're created. So I feel like it's the perfect setup with Jonathan Kent, because he is an older teen, a young adult, kind of coming into himself. I feel like that's the time when you come out anyway, so I think people made it a bigger deal than it was, mainly because of a refusal to read what was going on, but also, even when we do make completely new characters and they're unrelated, like, because, like, Jonathan Kent is a new character, but he's a legacy character. Like, he's, one of the Superman. He's in the Superman family. So, like, any queerness attached to, like, that S symbol is gonna get people heated. But it's like, we deserve to exist in that space just as much as you. When I say you, I mean straight cishet people. We deserve to sit in that space just as much as you do. So I feel like there has to be some sort of, what's the word? Like, y'all have to be willing to, like,
sit down and
share,
shut up.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is y'all have to be able to, like, put down your swords and share the space with us, because we have just as much of a right to it. Like, you don't get to gatekeep the super family. You don't.
Yeah, like, we have every right to like these characters as y'all do, and like, we don't, like, the thing is, if you actually, like, count up the number of queer characters that are canon versus those who are not, it's still, like, such a ridiculously wide margin. Like, y'all have so much, and, like, it reminds me of that episode of American Dad where, like, Stan makes a friend. He's like, and his friend's like, I hate how we only have most of the power now instead of all of the power. And he's like, and Stan's like, yeah, I hate how we don't have all of the power now. Oh, and it just fucking, like, sends me up in flames. Like, which is all the more disappointing because the thing is, John Kent wasn't written very well overall. Like, there were good moments, do not get me wrong. Like, I think him hanging out with Jackson Hyde and issue 5 where he was, like, going through his anxious breakdown over feeling like, oh, I have to follow up all the burdens of, of my father, like, he's dealing with that legacy while, like, I'm like, that's a really interesting thing to get into with him. But it, the unfortunate thing is, like, the way John Kent is written, it very much feels like from the perspective of a parent of a queer child, rather than actually, which is sweet in its own way, but, like, also I feel like we're a little bit past that, and it doesn't have, like, the same level of relatability that in the way that we actually need more so John to have, and just being written by a queer person, like, altogether. Like, like John's coming out to his mom and dad, he barely gets to say a word to them, and there's even, like, a weird fake out moment that a lot of people thought, like, is Lois gonna be, like, homophobic to John? Because why is she pulling him out of the room away from his boyfriend? Like, it was, but she was like, oh, I love you, and you're, like, and I'm just, like, kind of, like, it was a weirdly unnecessary moment. They could have just had her be like, oh, you two are really cute. Or just have her, like, whisper to Jay, like, you remind me of Clark and me. Like, to like, because Jay was, like, the thing is, Jay was written to be a, like Lois Lane's legacy, which, a legacy character for her, which I think is a really cool concept, because, like, she deserves that. She is she set the standard for women in comics. She did. I would honestly argue she's kind of on par, and maybe even to a certain degree, even more influential than Wonder Woman.
Oh, that's gonna shake the that's gonna shake the table. Okay.
It's okay. They're gonna kiss. Like Lois and Wonder Woman, they're gonna kiss. That's like they're two powerful women kissing. Like that's see, that's a good ship though. That would actually eat. But Lois is like a really phenomenally important character, and like the thing is, I just wish they would have John be more like Lois, and be like have a no nonsense attitude. Who didn't be very, but like he doesn't have like the assertiveness that he should, I think, and like this is a comic fans kind of like, and Lois Lane stands kind of like perspective on it. But it's just frustrating that I feel John was not written well. And the thing is, he unfortunately has kind of lost a lot of, after his recent comic, like the thing is, a lot of people were initially excited about the idea of, like his last comic book where he was like going to go to the Injustice universe. But because it was going to be him fighting Ultraman, who like was an evil alternate version of his father who kidnapped him and trapped him in a volcano for years. But then they killed Ultraman very early, like on the second issue of the comic, and the rest of the 4 issues are John just fucking around in the Injustice universe. And then he like hugs the fascist variant of his father right after his fascist Injustice Superman breaks the variant of Jay Nakamura's arm, like in that, like right in front of him, and I'm like, what? Like John's like hugging him, and it's like everyone's like, really, you're having this whole hug a fascist thing? Like the writer even tried to defend the decision on Twitter and then deleted the tweet. It got so much. It was not a very relatable or very well thought out message, because like about like especially like about one of the modern queer characters, and John's been fighting the whole pick me gay allegations ever since his DC Pride story, where he was like, there was like some undercurrent of racism in how Damien was written, where he was like talking about potentially bombing protesters or something. I don't know, it was written very weirdly, and he had a flat and he was saying like Pride is a party now, and he even had like a big flat cape of pride flags, and one of them was the straight pride flag. It was
why did you remind me that the straights have a flag too?
I'm sorry, but like it was so bad. Like the thing is, they changed the dialogue and changed the flat and the cape in reprints of the comic, but like just because there was like, do you know how bad backlash has to be for them to change the dialogue in the comics, like in reprints? That you have to sincerely majorly fuck up to do that. And the sad part is it was written by a queer writer, Devin Grayson, who is problematic for a whole bunch of other reasons, but I don't want to get into all that right now. But John, the thing is, he and Jay have a lot of potential. I honestly think they could be like the Billy and Teddy of DC Comics if they like focused a lot more on, like, gave John his own title, gave him to an actual queer writer. Like, I appreciate someone who's like a queer parent and wants to like give that story to an actual like for his kids, but at the same time I'm like, queer readers want to actually like have their own feel reflected in their perspective and their experience, and like a queer writer is just gonna do that better, or usually is going to do that better, like 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you get a queer writer who's just bad at it. It's unfortunate, but yeah, John, the thing is, though, I want to also quickly add in, John is not the first canonical queer member of the superfamily. That is actually Natasha Irons. She is a lesbian. She even got to have like a pride cover where she was like draped in the lesbian flag, and I was like, this is phenomenal. Oh my god, it was so awesome. Like she was dating Tracy 13, I think even back like in the 2010s, maybe like mid 2000s. like she's been queer for a while, but she doesn't get like nearly as much notoriety.
That's unfortunate because I also, don't know who she is. But now that I know now that I know, I can change that. Now let me look on this list to see who's next. Okay,
I think we should just jump into Harley Quinn.
Yeah, yeah. So, I think Harley. I think a lot of it comes from the popularity of the Harley Quinn TV show, which I have not watched. But just in general, I think the idea of Harley and Ivy is just it's kind of genius. I don't think that Harley is like, what's the word? I don't necessarily, like, a lot of people are like, but like, are the heroes? And I'm like, I don't really think it's about them being heroes or not. I really just care about, like, their relationship, and that's it. like, they could be...
There's a lot of things about Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn that I love. Like especially, like, the them being villains is probably the top of the list.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care if they're heroes or villains. I don't care... my point is I don't care what they're doing. I just care that they're doing it together.
Like, Batman the Animated Series, like, put Harley Quinn on the map. And she was not supposed to be, like, a prominent character. She was supposed to be, like, a one-off guy character. But, like, she was so popular, and Bruce Timm loved writing her, and, like, and he was friends with the actress who voiced her, Arlene Sorkin, that, like, she just became a staple of, like, the Batman lore, and, like, they started doing so much more stuff with her, and she has a very interesting story about, like, overcoming abuse, and, like, striking out on her own, and she's got a great, unique charm to her, and she's, the girl's a bit of a mess. The girl is a bit of a mess. Like, she's, like, sweet but egomaniacal, she's compassionate yet also lethal. Well, she, she's really fun like that, and she and Poison Ivy were heavily queer coded back in the Batman the Animated Series, but wasn't like canonized, I think, till like the 2010s comic books, where she and Poison Ivy were like making out, and I'm like, good for you girls. Like, I love it for her, and she's only got, like, she's probably, like, one of the most well-adapted queer characters, I would say, in DC, because, like, the thing is, like, most queer characters, it almost feels like DC kind of wants to hide them, like, shove them in the back, put them away, but, like, Harley Quinn's queerness is, like, such a big draw for her.
It's a really good, they love marketing that.
Yeah, and like, I'm honestly kind of grateful for it. Like, I always find, like, capitalism, marketability of gays is dicey area, but her and Poison Ivy getting to be that is still really cool. And like, I know there have been arguments that, like, they've been kind of shaved down to be more, like, domestic gays, and, like, have their villainous edges and I do kind of agree, actually, because that is a problem I've noticed in some of the writing of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I also think the Harley Quinn animated series, while having also more heavily popularized their relationship, it has also, I think, kind of taken, like, it has definitely bogged them down a little bit. But I do think that they're, like, the comics, the Poison Ivy comics have really gotten back more into her villainous roots, and she's amazing. She's murdering people all the time. Like, she's being an eco-terrorist, and I love her. Y'all should definitely read her current comic book run. It's phenomenal. And very, very sapphic. Like, very, very... There's a lesbian orgy in one issue of the comic. It's awesome. And... yeah, like her and it's a really interesting and fascinating relationship to see explored, and to see adapted, and like it feels very meaningful, like especially like as like Harley Quinn is one of the I mean, actually there's a lot, most of the queer characters at DC that I can think of are Jewish actually. Like Kate Kane,
I love that
Harley,
for you.
yeah. Well, Tim Drake was actually pitched to be Jewish at one point, but that's a whole other different thing. And the person who did it, who pitched that, is a raging bigoted loser. So I don't want to get into that. But it's nice. Like, Harley Quinn is a very nice character. I don't think she's always handled perfectly, but that's like the thing is, I'm gonna chalk that up to the fact, like, when she's used in everything, of course there are going to be lesser adaptations of her. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I find myself not that I don't, I like them, but I find myself not having as much to say about the relationship because I don't really see too many problems with it. Like, they're cute, they exist, they're not my favorite in the world, but they're okay. Yeah, I'm grateful for them. I'm happy we have them because I feel like they kind of soften the general consensus for us in pop culture, I guess. And maybe that goes back to the marketability of them in the sense of like, okay, you know, these, I don't want to call them safe gays because I feel like that's like a backhanded compliment, but I do feel like right now they're kind of safe. Like, if you're gonna go with a mainstream queer DC couple, it's gonna be Harley and Ivy. So it's like, that's good, but it's also just like, it doesn't leave me with a lot of room to say things about them because I feel like so far my thing has been like, this character has been done dirty because of XYZ. And I just feel like Harley and Ivy kind of haven't been. So they've been giving Harley and Ivy their things. So it's like, oh, okay, that's good. Like, I don't really have too much negative to report, which is a good thing. But entertainment wise for you guys, I guess it's not.
I do think, I mean, Poison Ivy has at least gotten to have more girlfriends in recent canon, and Harley Quinn has like gotten to display. Like, the thing is, what I love about Harley Quinn is she is, even in her worst comics, she is able to be openly bisexual. Like, she flirts and like oogles over Wonder Woman, and she is also like making out with Hal Jordan, and like and Harley is really great like that. And I don't know, it's nice. Like, I do wish that, like, she was given a few more female, like, real strong female love interest options, like, through, like, because there's not a lot of other real strong, like, love interests that are recurring for her, but like, I mean, like, Poison Ivy has Bella Gardner, or Gardner, and like, Bella's a really cool character, and I would actually like to see more of her, but, that's kind of, like, it in terms of that. I have a lot of issues with the Harley Quinn TV show. It's like, especially the latest season was bad. Season 1 had a lot of anti-Semitism, and despite the fact that the writers were Jewish, I don't understand why they were like making jokes about like Jewish fire, and playing into stereotypes about Jewish mothers as abusers and shit, and like there was a lot of very like poor choices in the first season, especially with making the Penguin Jewish. That there's a lot of anti-Semitic stereotypes, especially in like making him like a bird,
especially with his little physical appearance.
Yeah, like he has like a long nose, and he's like looks like a bird, and that actually is like a feature of Blood Libel, was like comparing Jewish people to birds and rats because it implied that we're diseased, and like they did kill off the penguin in the beginning of season 2, and I definitely think they did that because they realized, oh, we should not have made him Jewish, and like, so I definitely think they have tried to rectify that, but like, you know, I still think it's valid if anyone wants to be like, eek. But at the same time, I appreciate the show for being very queer as well. Like again, like it actually was the first time I've seen the Riddler actually adapted as queer outside the comics. Well, like the TV show I think implies that the Riddler is gay, but in the comics the Riddler is bisexual. And like the Riddler in the comics like is actually like that actually I think is an interesting like little pivot. Like, so the Riddler in the comics, like, Batman was looking into the Riddler's activities at one point and met up with this guy, and the guy was, like, very heavily, like, almost flat out stated that he was Edward's college boyfriend, but they broke up because Edward was, like, so obsessed with the spotlight that he was, like, too envious of the fact his boyfriend got the leading role in a play and in the acting troupe, which is very in character for Edward. But, like, there's a lot of prominent queer characters within the Batman lore. Like, most of them are his villains, which you can take positively or negatively. Because, like, not all of his... Like, just because they're villains doesn't mean they're, like, not sympathetic or not, like, enjoyable or meaningful representation. Like, because, again, Harley's a villain, Poison Ivy's a villain, and you know what? They're fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I gonna say about Ivy? I want more independent Ivy content, like by herself, like unattached to Harley. Yeah.
You should definitely be reading the current Poison Ivy comic. It's like Harley only shows up in like 2 issues of the comic, like, and like it's about 16 or 17 issues right now. Oh, and it's very well written. It's
Yeah, I just feel like in a lot of media, Harley is seen as like the bigger star or like the more popular one. I'm like, what about the Ivy love though?
it's difficult, I think, because Ivy is one of Batman's more fantastical villains, and I think the unfortunate thing is the broader public wants more grounded Batman stories rather than more hyper fantastical Batman stories. Unfortunately, so that makes it like difficult for her. Like, I mean, like that's also the reason I think it's difficult for us to get Mr. Freeze and Clayface really off the ground, and in a lot of Batman adaptations. And it's like they're gonna probably go more likely with Hush or like the Holiday Killer or the Joker or the Riddler or like or the Penguin. Like I definitely think they just need to do more stuff. Like they need to be willing to have Batman do more fantastical stuff in like the broader culture, so that Poison Ivy can get a better chance to shine. It's like, I know that like Margot Robbie wanted the Poison Ivy relationship to be depicted on screen. I really don't want Margot Robbie still in the Harley Quinn role because she's a miscast. She's not Jewish, but that's just my own prerogative. And I don't know. I do want to like quickly say that like people kind of underestimate how important Arlene Sorkin was in the conceptualization of Harley Quinn, and like she specifically worked in a Yiddish accent and a lot of other Jewish affectations into Harley's character. And Harley is canonically Jewish, and she should be portrayed by Jewish actresses. Because I honestly feel like anyone who doesn't have I feel like every time they cast a goy in this role, it doesn't feel respectful to to Arlene's culture and what she put into Harley Quinn. But that's just one Jew's prerogative, okay? And
No, I feel you. I definitely feel you for sure.
Yeah. I guess we should get on to do we want to talk about Catwoman or Ghostmaker or Dr. October?
I'm gonna be real. Did you say Catwoman?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I really love Catwoman on a lot of levels, and there are positives and negatives, and like in very and things I appreciate about Catwoman and like the adaptations of her like so Catwoman is a canonically bisexual character, but that doesn't get focused on a lot with her, very unfortunately. Like she has had her own comic that's been running for about 5 or 6 years now, and not gotten any Pride covers for some reason, which very disappointing. I think the unfortunate thing about her
like
being
I found out that Catwoman was bisexual 5 seconds ago.
You did what?
Because I was like, that's why I was like, oh, did you say Catwoman? Let's talk about her, because I did not know that she was bisexual. And I'm like, Selena Kyle, that Catwoman? I didn't know that.
I think like the thing, like that's what I was talking about exactly though. Like they don't really highlight the fact that she is bi a lot. And the thing is, I'm gonna be very upfront here, and I want to preface this by saying, like bisexual people who are in relationships with opposite sex people. Well, if you are a bisexual woman dating a man or a bi man dating a woman, you are not invalid as a bisexual person whatsoever. But the thing is, Catwoman is a fictional character, and the unfortunate fact of the matter is she is not a person with her own agency. She is a character owned by a massive corporation, and given the fact she is one of the main, probably the biggest name love interest to Batman, who is one of the biggest like characters in comics.
Characters in anything, actually.
Yeah. Her romantic life kind of gets swallowed up by him. Like he takes
in
up
more ways than one.
Yeah, like he takes up the majority of I just got that. Like of her of her romantic life, and so that kind of limits the chances for her to really be able to more thoroughly explore bisexual. And I honestly feel like some of the people at DC are like afraid to acknowledge Catwoman as bisexual, because she would like, I remember, I think like in the DC LGBT encyclopedia thing they released, Catwoman wasn't listed in it, even though she's literally on panel kissed another woman. It's just
I feel like DC really wants to bury that fact, because I had no idea. Because like for me, especially with Catwoman and Batman, I feel like Catwoman is always treated like, I hate to sound crass, but kind of like Batman's side chick. Like they're kind of sometimes together, sometimes they're not. But like, I feel like the most, I think it's really sad that I know more people in real life, in actual life, that talk about Batman and Talia than Batman and Catwoman.
Yeah. Well, that's unique. That's unique for me, because like most people I know don't even know who Talia al Ghul is. So
most people I know talk about Talia, and I'm like, but what about Catwoman? Or like even like, again, this is going back to Damian Wayne hate. Like, you know, their child together, but like nobody talks about Catwoman and Batwoman's child together.
Well, I mean, Helena Wayne is from an alternate universe, like that's, or from an alternate future. Like it's like they do have a kid together, but Helena doesn't get to like show up like, I mean, she showed up in the Justice Society of America. I don't know if that comic is even done right now, because the guy who is in charge of writing it kept getting a bunch of delays on it. But what was I saying? Like it's unfortunate that like Catwoman's just kind of has her bisexuality kind of put on the side a lot and forgotten about a lot, especially because like there have been adaptations. Like there was an animated movie of Catwoman where she was like flirting around with Batwoman a lot, and actually so in the Batman movie, like the Pattinson, side note, Robert Pattinson's tits, love him, Thank you. I'm sorry. Just
shout out to Robert Pattinson's tits, I guess.
I'm sorry. I still go back to that shirtless scene and I melt. But the thing is, I know that Zoe Kravitz wanted to include Catwoman's bisexuality in the film. And I know Zoe Kravitz has a lot of problems. I know.
Okay, not Zoe Kravitz.
I know about her problems. I know about that Instagram post. I know about that Instagram post. But
those tweets.
Oof, my God. But I'm familiar with the Instagram post she made about. Okay. So she did say that she specifically worked to give an undercurrent that Selena was bisexual, and that she was in a romantic relationship with Annika, the other girl, who was she was living with in the movie, who gets killed and was sleeping with the mayor, or Annika, she even said was calling her baby on the phone. And so but the thing is apparently the director did not want to have Annika and Selena be a canonical couple, so Zoe was sneaking it in sort of to a degree, which I kind of get why the director didn't want to, because she has this whole relationship with Batman and in the film, and it does look weird if her girlfriend literally just died and she's flirting around and with a guy immediately, especially they literally find her girlfriend's body together. That's
that would be that is weird.
That does put I'm just if my girlfriend just died, I would not be in the mood. I'm just saying, I would not be in the mood.
I'm kind of two minds about it, because on one hand I appreciate her trying to give something to the girls, but at the same time I find it really odd that actors and directors have this kind of Cold War thing going on, where they're kind of trying to give opposing visions. I just don't think creatively that's a productive situation on either side of it. I don't know. I don't love that she had to do that. I kind of wish they kind of could have creatively been on the same page.
Yeah, it's they definitely should, but at the same time though, look, I'm just gonna be on the side of whatever we can sneak in more queer stuff as possible. That's a good I'd rather have more than less. I'd
rather have more than less. I just feel she shouldn't have to do that. I feel she shouldn't have to battle with that. I think most, outside of the girlfriend thing, I think most directors should be open. Well, not even that. That's just what the character is. What I was going to say is most directors should be open to queer inclusion. But no, you're including Catwoman. Catwoman is a queer character, so you should include it. You should. That's not debatable.
Of course they should, but the reality is a lot of people just they it's not always from a distinct, purposeful place of homophobia, but it is unfortunately at times they're just they just don't want to deal with it. And it's sad and depressing, but that's just. I'm sorry, but they're not always gonna be they're not always gonna be fighting us, but they're not gonna be always gonna be our allies either.
And I find and you know what? Let's talk women, because I think that, and I say this all the time, and everyone always wants to eat me up about it, but I'm gonna continue to say this: bisexual erasure, I think, disproportionately, and no offense, men, I love you, men, but I think bisexual erasure kind of affects women a tad bit more. I just feel in general, society just kind of pushes aside women's sexuality, even when it's cishet, even when it's women loving men, society don't really care about that. but especially when it's women loving women or like bisexual women, society in general loves to erase queer women. And I can't help but think that that's why disproportionately, because like you could have two characters that are queer, and I think that it's quite weird that even the few small, because we don't really get too many queer men in comics that are canon, but we all know who they are, even if they're minor, even if we don't see them a lot. We're gonna know who the Jackson Hydes, and we're gonna know who, you know, even though Tim Drake isn't getting a lot of content, we still gonna know who he is. But like somebody like Catwoman, somebody like Wonder Woman, who's a major character, it's like we're gonna erase, we're gonna not notice, we're gonna ignore, we're gonna forget that she's bisexual or that Catwoman's bisexual. And I think that that's kind of conducive to the fact that as society in general, we just don't give a lot of validity to queer women and specifically bisexual women. If we see you with a man, we're just gonna assume you're straight and just kind of keep it moving. And I think that's pretty fucked up.
I remember there was like someone made this point. I can't remember who it was, but like the idea was that the assumption of attraction to men will always trump over the attraction to women, which is why like bisexual women, they always like sort of erase these and just like assume they're straight, and why like if a bisexual man ever or like they're always like, oh, so you're gay, or like I'm just
yeah, like, exactly. Like I say all the time, as a society, we give, and I'm so glad I'm not monetized anyway, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. We give dick so much power in society. If you're a man and you even think about dick, even if you don't like it, even if you think about experimenting once, you're gay. And there's nothing you can do to escape it. You'll always be gay, da da da. That's why a lot of guys who have experimented and like, but not, oh, it's not for me, they don't tell their female partners that they've experimented in the past because they're always going to be looked at as gay. Vice versa, if you're a woman and you say, oh, I actually don't like dick, as a society, since we're so obsessed with dick, we're like, actually, no, you have to like it. And this is why, trigger warning for SA, a lot of queer women are assaulted because a lot of men feel like, ugh, well, you know, you just need the right dick to change you. You just need da-da-da. I can change you. Like, ugh, just disgusting. But that's where that idea comes from, because we're so obsessed with dick in this society that, like, you just have to love it. Like, there's no, it's just, it's frustrating. And I think that that's a really big reason why a lot of these female characters that are huge characters, we all know who these characters are, but their sexuality is just erased.
It's true, and it's very disappointing on a lot of different levels. Like, these women deserve to be able to be represented, and like it shouldn't be an issue. Like, the thing is, like, these comics are gonna go on forever. Like, so like, what's the harm in like letting these girls like say, oh, this is my ex-girlfriend, or let her date a woman for like 5 issues? Like, who cares? It would be a nice little thing to just have in there.
Or we could change the status quo. Like, we really could change the status quo. Like, how long has Diana's main love interest been Steve Trevor? What if we change that? What if for the next 10 to 15 years in the comics, in you know, different medias, television shows, movies, Diana's main love interest was a woman? Would it really be so bad? Because in 50 years, when these comics are still running and we're dead, Wonder Woman is still gonna exist, and you can still maybe change the status quo again and put her with somebody else. But I just, can we do something new? Can we do something different?
It would be nice, to just really do that. But like, the thing is, unfortunately, comics are an industry, and people want to stay safe or whatever. But yeah. And I'm trying, but I guess we should get on to Ghostmaker and Dr. October.
Go ahead.
I was gonna bring up Ghostmaker and Dr. October. Do you know them?
No.
Okay, so Ghostmaker is he's an old like ally, adversary, kind of ex-boyfriend of Batman. His name is Min Koha, and he is a vigilante. He was introduced in Batman 100, and he has been like only around for really like 3 years, I would say, but he has blown up as a comic book character. He's probably become one of the most prominent queer men at DC now. He even led the Batman Incorporated comic for about a year. He is a bisexual man. He's I believe he's Singaporean. Yeah, and he's like he's been very fruity with Batman in the comics for a while. There was even like a bunch of articles posted like in when Chip Zdarsky wrote Batman the Night. He like there was this panel where like Min Koha gets like really close to Bruce's face, and they look like they're about to kiss. It's like the way like the panel is angled and how close, and like there was like literal like whole articles with Batman with the bisexual flag on Screen Rant and Cinema Blend being like, is Batman canonically bisexual? And like, well, and Ghostmaker is like has canonically been with men. Like he was getting with this like girl and this giant beefy redheaded dude, and he even hooked up with Catman in the recent DC Pride issue. But like his main relationship and very obvious like great love is Batman, and Batman's very like Batman's like I have like in the night was like I haven't been this like when Koha leaves him, he's like I haven't been this destroyed since my parents died. I'm like, wow, you're comparing Koha leaving you to your parent, like Batman's your parent, like, and that's like his great trauma that he's always crying about. And I'm like, damn.
Ooh.
That's saying
not Batman shade.
That's like saying something that I'm like, he really meant that much to you. So yeah, yeah, like Ghostmaker's coming for Batman. Like he's coming for Superman. He's coming for your boyfriend. Like lock that down. Yeah. But he's a great character. Like they even have I have an action figure of him too, and he's got this great techno samurai design, and I love him.
Actually, that makes me think of some gays that I did not think about. Actually, okay, so and these gays are like a matching set, as are all good things. But I find it weird because they're supposed to be gay royalty, but like they're so extraordinarily unpopular. And when I say unpopular, I mean unpopular. People don't hate them; they're just not talked about. And I'm referring to Apollo and Midnighter. Like, and I know they were adapted from a different comics universe into DC, but still, it's just like I don't think they caught on ever, and I kind of don't know if they ever will, because it's just giving they're Batman and Superman, but they kill, and you know the mainstream message with those characters that they never kill under any circumstances unless you're an alien, and then we'll kind of kill you. But like regular people, no, we're not gonna kill.
Well, like, the thing is, like, Midnighter and Apollo have a very complicated history. The thing is, they're not originally DC characters. They are originally from the Wildstorm universe, which was meant to be its own thing. And, like, they were meant as sort of commentaries about the unrealized homoeroticism between Batman and Superman. And, it's really unfortunate, I think, that just hasn't, like, they've kind of been shortchanged in many ways, and not really given the same amount of love and focus that they deserve. Like, the thing is, they just don't fit really in the same way in the Batman, in the DC universe as they did back in the Wildstorm universe, because like they were their own characters, they had their own rules, but like in the DC universe, like Batman and the Justice Society of America and the Justice League and Superman and Wonder Woman, all these characters are bigger established characters. And the unfortunate thing is I feel like, again, they've kind of tried to domesticate Midnight and Apollo in many ways, especially because like in the recent Pride special, Apollo, when they were Midnighter was like seeing like a bunch of bigots like being homophobic at a rally. He's like, we need to punch the shit out of them. And Apollo's like, no, we can't do that. We need to set an example. I'm like, no, this is not Apollo's character. He is on board with the killing. Like, he is like, he would put his fist through a bigot's skull. Like, there was this great fan art I even saw once that was like a parody of the whole, well, someone will die. And instead of Apollo saying like of fun, he's like, we will be the one to kill you. I'm like, yes, like these guys are killers. They do not believe in the idea that in giving the chance for villains to redeem themselves, because they come from the perspective that if they allow someone to get away with these crimes, they'll go out and do it again, and they're trying to prevent like deeper harm that can come down later. And like they're very much more of the Red Hood philosophy. Basically, they were a commentary about the unrealized homoeroticism, and as a commentary on like as a criticism of Batman and Superman's philosophy, which like you can have your own opinions and about which philosophy you personally follow. That is perfectly valid, but I don't like the fact that two characters who are supposed to have this own distinct philosophy get it contorted to fit in with the characters they were originally based off of, and also designed as criticisms of. Because, like, as much as I love Superman and Batman, and they have been incredibly heavily queer-coded throughout their comic book history together, they still represent faces of the comic industry. And the comic industry has been, like, despite the queer coding and stuff in it, has been very homophobic, has been very discriminatory, has been very disclusive to people like us. And as it's frustrating that they tried to make Apollo and Midnighter conform to this ideal, and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they'll ever cross over into like the mainstream. I almost wish that like it's wild. I don't think that Wildstorm exists anymore. I think they all just kind of got absorbed by DC. But I kind of think that like maybe they should kind of go back to their own universe, and maybe they would have a chance as like an alternative because I could definitely see like a The Boys style like Midnighter and Apollo show on like Amazon or something. I could totally see that, but like I just don't think they vibe with the DC girlies at all.
They don't. It's not, and the thing is, like, they don't give them a lot of stuff to do in the DC comics, unfortunately, either. And it's tough to see them interact with the characters in the main DC universe because they just don't really fit with them, and it doesn't feel like them when they interact with them. And they also like de-aged them. Like, these men were like in their 40s and 50s in the Wildstorm comics, and now they're like 30 something. And I'm like, no, let them be old men and have their daughter. They had a daughter in their old comic continuity, and it's frustrating to me. I'm like, bring their daughter back. Hey.
Yeah. That's that's depressing.
It is, yeah.
Speaking of depressing,
what's the other depressing thing we gotta talk about?
Jackson Hyde.
Jackson. Like, I love Jackson, but he's also not always... Like, I love him in the comics, but in the Young Justice series, Do you want to start?
I do. Okay, so Jackson Hyde. I know y'all might not know who I'm talking about. When I say Jackson Hyde, I'm talking about Calendar from the Young Justice show, but in the comics he's Jackson Hyde. But I love him so much, but I just think that he was catching on until he came out on that show. Like, people were like, he's so great, da 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 da. Because, like the original Aqualad was, Garth, but, now it's Calder, and, that was great. But I think that the show, at this, like, it helped and hurt him at the same time. Like, it exposed him to a new audience and got everybody into him, and we all love him. But then, he came out, and that was great, and then we all love him still, but they just, it felt like they were anticipating a backlash, and because they were anticipating a backlash, they what's the word? Blackballed him from his own series. Like, he stopped interacting with, like, the main characters and just was, like, always on little side quests and side missions. They would always push him to the back while pretending to elevate him. Like, they made him the new Aquaman, and then they made him the leader of the Justice League, which, like, sounds like an important, great title, right? Oh, we have a black man who is queer and he has a boyfriend and he's leading the Justice League. Isn't that so great and progressive? But it's like, it would be if this was a show about the Justice League, but it's not. It's a show about the sidekicks. It's Young Justice. So he's not in the Young Justice anymore. Now he's doing his own thing, and it's like, we're not seeing him. So it defeats the purpose of at least for me, it defeats the purpose of the representation, because beforehand I could completely identify with Calder as a black man, and then when he came out as queer, I can relate to him even more. But now it's like, okay, now you have this character that I really relate to, and now he's like gone. He's gone. And then there's other issues with his character, like they didn't really want to label him. And on one hand, I feel like, okay, everyone's on a spectrum and we don't really need labels, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying like to trivialize that mindset, because I think there is a validity to that mindset, but at the same time, this is not the real world. He's not a real person. He is a character, and he's supposed to represent people. So he does need a label. In my opinion, he does need a label. And if his label is pansexual, and if it's in canon that he doesn't like labels, but he's pansexual and he could get with anybody, sure. But he still needs to express that. They still need to find some way to put that in, because when he was flirting with Dolphin Girl, well, not flirting, but when they were implying a romance with him and Dolphin Girl, I was confused, because I was like, doesn't he have a boyfriend? Also, there's issues with the boyfriend's origins, because like in the comic adaptation, apparently he was like an Atlantean supremacist, and he really only cared about the Atlanteans that looked a certain way, and if you look any other way than how he looked, he was like, no. So it's kind of giving fish Nazi and gross. hate that. Yikes. But I just they had the boyfriend, and then like, despite his origins, him being there, they didn't even really do anything with that. They had one episode where I was thinking her name. They had one episode where they kind of fight Granny Goodness, and then he just kind of shows up to be like the background token POC queer Gen Z gay girly that's in the show, and we see them every other episode or every 4 episodes. And they had Lagoon Boy in there, and they made him bisexual and like poly, and they gave him a husband and a wife and a child, and that was great. But like, again, Lagoon Boy, he would be like in every 10 episodes, every other 10th episode, he would be there, and he would get like 30 seconds of screen time, and like maybe a kiss, maybe not a kiss. Actually, no, at least they animated his kiss. With Calder, they didn't even animate his kiss. He was just like, it was just like a little still. It was was just a little still. Meanwhile, Dick Grayson, love you, babes, but you and Barbara get to hunch. Megan and Connor, they get to lay it low and spread it wide all over the place, but Calder and his man can't do nothing. It was some bullshit. It was some bullshit, and I do think if we would have gotten a fourth season of Titans, maybe they could have introduced them and it could have been done better on that show, but unfortunately we'll never know. I hope that there is another chance for Jackson Hyde or Calder or whatever you want to call him to make a comeback in the mainstream soon, though. What do you think, though, Al?
So I agree with a lot of the things you just outlined. I was very frustrated that Calder kind of gets sidelined, and he was built up as the leader of the team in the earlier part of the series, but then season 3, I hate all the time skips. That was another stupid thing.
That was another thing with the time skips, yeah.
But they basically have him suddenly appear as leader of the Justice, which should be cool, but it's not, because he's not included in anything. And I also feel we need to talk about just the birth of how much sexuality, how much heterosexual sexuality is highlighted, yet queer sexuality in this show is just it feels very lazy in comparison. Because you said, Nightwing gets to sleep with everyone. He even in the comics slept with his cousin, Bet Kane, which his father's cousin, and Bet Kane, which is very fucking weird. That they wrote that the Young Justice writers wrote that in, but
DC to make it Alabama coded.
But
I'm sorry, Alabamians. Y'all always eat me up when I make those jokes, but they're funny.
It is. But it's just frustrating because I'm conceptually this would have been cool if they actually included him and actually did this stuff. But instead, you got Black Lightning having a hookup with that random crazy scientist lady, and Miss Martian, who's is literally a fucking is more evil than Vandal Savage in this show. Who I would argue, she literally was out there lobotomizing people and tried to erase the memories of her boyfriend. And Connor Kent, I will save you. From McGann, I will save you.
I will save you. I can save him.
I will save him. I will get him away from that green parasite.
Well, really white parasite, but that's another story.
That true, but white. We need to turn that into a term because I feel that is a suitable term. But what was I saying? It's frustrating that all these other characters got to have their sexuality be so overt and openly sexual, really sexual. Yet Jackson, he doesn't get to kiss his boyfriend until the 22nd episode of the season. It's a still. His boyfriend was in a prior scene, but he didn't get any speaking lines or any sort of illusion.
He acted like he didn't know that man. He was hi. He was hi, King Arthur Curry. And then, you behind him, you exist. Actually, no, you don't exist. I'm not going to speak to you at all. And then later, you think it's because, oh no, they're having a secret thing, but no, they're completely out in public. It's just that in that scene, they just acted like he didn't exist. It almost felt like the decision to have them be together was a last minute decision, and they were like, okay, well, who's gonna be his boyfriend? Oh, that random guardian behind Arthur, we'll take him and we'll just put him in a shot and
it's very Shiro and what's his name from Voltron code.
Yeah, from Voltron. like that time skip still with Shiro getting married.
Yeah, it has that vibe, unfortunately. Well, I mean, at least Adam wasn't a racial supremacist, which is another whole gross thing, that his boyfriend was this weird fish Nazi, and I just find that really gross and annoying and disturbing, especially in the comics. First off, Jackson's boyfriend in the comics is also a person of color and also is chubby. And I think that's a really cool bit of representation, because we don't have a lot of fat black characters. And his boyfriend Hawe I'm just like, I don't know, just it's a really cool thing, and I'm like, why couldn't you just had it be Hawe? Like that would have been a really easy thing to do, I think. But instead, it's like this more light-skinned, like more physically fit, or I go to the gym constantly, it doesn't.
And from what I remember about his comic, because I think I read one Jackson Hyde origin story comic, and I think it was like he showed his boyfriend his powers, and his boyfriend freaked the fuck out and ran away from him.
Oh, I think that was the Surfacer boyfriend. Hawe is his Atlantean boyfriend.
Yeah.
But Hawe is is a royal guardsman, and he's he and Jackson are really, really in love with each other. The Aqua family doesn't get a lot of content, unfortunately, but
they really don't, because the Aquaman doesn't get a lot of content.
Which is sad, because he's got some of the best lore and characters and comic runs, I would actually argue, of the last decade. But that's a whole other dealio. But Aquaman, but Jax, yeah. The thing is, it's also really annoying to me is that it feels like the thing is, at the time, so Young Justice, the TV show, was being made at the same time Jackson was being introduced in the comics. And they were like, okay, so we want Aquaman to have a black sidekick. And they made Jackson gay, but didn't do the same thing with Calder in the TV show, which I get. That was the early 2010s. It happens. But what's really frustrating to me is that, okay, so Jackson was, definitively gay. But then when they made him queer on the TV show, they were unlabeled, and then outside the thing, the people were like, he's polysexual, and I was just kind of like, why didn't you just adapt him as gay? That's kind of my question. Because again, I don't think they decided to make Calder queer just because. They made him queer because he's his counterpart in the comics is queer. So, but they didn't actually do the same matching sexuality, and it felt almost weird. They didn't want to invalidate Jack or Calder's past romantic relationship or feelings for Tula, which is, I also want to say killing her off was a huge waste of a character. She's Ocean Master's half sister, so that's actually a really cool angle for her character, but no one knows that because they didn't adapt her super well. But that's a whole aside thing. But I just feel very frustrated. I'm it feels like they didn't we talked about how it feels like there was an element of laziness and lack of effort, or not wanting to nail it down, kind of whataboutism from the crew, because given they again didn't even animate the gay kiss that Calder had, and it feels like they didn't want to get into actually Jackson or Calder's character in that vein, and actually have him be oh, I was going through comp het or something like that, and that just feels very frustrating.
I think a lot of people don't realize men also experience comp het.
Comp het is I think is a very universal for gay people. I mean, not everyone has it specifically, but it I went through it. I thought, okay, I need to date women, I need to like girls, but I didn't like girls. I didn't have sexual or romantic feelings for women, and I thought I did. But then, when I actually was with a guy, I was like, oh my god, this is what I want. And, that's kind of, I don't know, I definitely went through comp het as a queer mask individual. So, but,
I think a big reason why a lot of queer people go through comp het is because there's this myth about gay people, specifically gay people, that you're gay because you are repulsed by the opposite gender. So people think, women, you hate men. You're repulsed by men. It disgusts you. Gay men, y'all hate vagina. It's just disgusting. No, it's not that it's revolting, because think about it. Gay men who are gay have sex with women and have kids and do all that, be married for 20 years, and then like they realize they're gay, and it's like, oh, I don't. This is what this is supposed to feel like. So it's not that like they're repulsed by women or that lesbians are repulsed by men. It's just that like I actually prefer this other thing, and I feel like because you, as actual gay people in real life, you don't see it as repulsion. You kind of get confused because you think, oh, if I was gay, I would just like wouldn't even be able to look at a woman. But like most gay men are like, oh no, I always thought women were pretty. I just didn't really have that connection.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like the thing is like you can tell when someone's pretty or have an emotional connection with a woman, and then you like misconstrue it as romantic or sexual, but like that's not really what it is going on. And at least that's what it like. I had quote unquote crushes on girls, and like I don't know. It would have been nice to actually like seen that really thoroughly explored in a superhero story. But it like again they were just lazy with Jackson Calder. They like again they threw like the thing is they didn't even let him keep the cool position as the leader of the Justice League. Like they had him like get taken off the team and replaced by Black Lightning, who honestly spent more time with the Young Justice team than Calder did, which was like really frustrating, especially because
and I love Jefferson. I love Jefferson, but he does not need to be leading the Justice League.
Like I love Jefferson too, but this was not a good adaptation of Jefferson. Like it was very weird with him, and like it almost feels like they were using him to replace Calder or in some way, and I like it's frustrating, especially like the fact he got to be come into the show, be a lot more openly sexual with some random woman, not even his wife, or ex-wife, or I don't know, like.
Yeah, and Grace. Where's Grace at? Wait a minute. Somebody call Grace right now.
Yeah, like I was just like I was just pissed. I was just really pissed, and like, and it didn't help, like, they didn't really do a lot of good stuff with, like, I mean, the series got very poorly written further and further as it went on, because, like, can anyone who even, like, everyone, like, it became, like, a thing everyone was like, okay, the show shouldn't have been brought back. It wasn't very good. And
it became, like, instead of being a young Justice show, it became, like, it became, like, the DC universe, but make it animated. And it's like, no, but, like, instead of making it the entire DC universe, we have to fit every fucking character in the world that ever existed in DC into this one show. Just make it Young Justice. Just make it the young girl. It was just keep it cute, keep it contained about the Young Justice characters. Now you can add new girlies. I liked Halo. I liked Blue Beetle. I liked Impulse. Keep those young characters in there, but like try to add the Justice League in it too, and it was just too much. It was just too much.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like the early seasons like worked because it did give the element there were bigger things happening in the DC universe, but it was just focusing in on like this one team. Like that was a really interesting angle, but they kept skipping through so much development, like for so many different characters, and like them we're not seeing them develop or grow or reach any landmarks. It's just suddenly, oh, they've now disbanded the team or given up their superhero identities, or you have to do research to why the characters are acting like this now. Oh, it's exhausting. It's just bad storytelling on a variety of different, like I like, look, I'm a nerd. I can list the Targaryen kings from the Game of Thrones series in order for like from when they ruled and everything. But I do not think it is a fair thing to make it a requirement to you have to do research to enjoy or understand what is going on in a story. That is annoying. It's
giving your viewers homework.
Yeah, like I don't want homework. I am a grown ass man. And like I do not want to have to fucking do homework. That is not. I left that behind in college. When I got my degree, I was like, no more homework. I am done. Bye-bye. Like this series though, go in this direction was very frustrating. But like it's just Calder deserved better. Like I wish the Young Justice writing team actually respected like Calder more, or and also just like the queer characters in general. Like, because it feels like outside of like Lagoon Boy, the queer representation in the show sucked. Like, or was like so.
I felt like we were so close to getting like queer Blue Beetle confirmed because him and Impulse were kind of fruity.
Like, the thing is, like, they knew that Impulse and Blue Beetle were a very popular ship, but, okay, so this is complicated. So, the thing is, like, Greg Bertinelli, who's, like, the showrunner, revealed on his blog that one of these four characters...
Did you mean Greg Berlanti?
Yeah, I don't care about his last name. Like, Greg... anyway... Greg said that like one of like that like Dick that Nightwing he knew that Nightwing and Flash and Blue Beetle and Impulse were popular ships, and he said one of those four characters is gay, and he did say that Eduardo, who's like the guy who can teleport. You probably won't remember him because he's barely in the fucking show, but he was like Jaime's best friend who like
I remember him.
Like, yeah, but like said that he is gay and that he has a boyfriend, and the boyfriend is heavily implied to be Bart. But like a lot of people have like come in saying that, oh well, Impulse and Blue Beetle were a bad relationship to begin with because Blue Beetle is 16 and Impulse is 13. Which I'm gonna be very upfront and clear with y'all. That was not something I was able to take away from at all.
Impulse is 13.
That's apparently that's what like they said that his canonical age is.
What?
But like
somebody's lying. Somebody is lying. That boy, the way he was drawn, I thought he was at least 16.
Like, the thing is, okay, so when I was 15 years old, I watched the show and assumed they were both 15 because I wasn't friends with a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old when I was 15. I was hanging out with people in my own fucking grade, maybe like a year below me or above me every once in a while. But it was like pretty much solely only like people in my grade. Like that was it. And I don't know a lot of other people that like were really socializing or like besties with people the grade, because it's just not practical. Like, it's not practical really to like it's more practical to be, friends with the people in your grade, because you see each other more often, you have your schedules coincide more, or you guys go through the same classes, the same people. It is so. Like, as a 15-year-old, I was very into Blue Beetle and Impulse, and it was a very meaningful relation. I honestly don't think I would have survived high school without that ship, because it made me feel... It made me feel seen. It made me feel like I had something to look forward to, or hope for, or imagine, or believe in. It was a very meaningful relation. I don't know, like anyone who tries to like insist that like the people are pro shippers or pedos or whatever for shipping this ship, I'm like, I think y'all need to take a chill pill, because that's not at all what's
I don't believe them. I don't believe them. I don't believe he was 13. But going back to Greg Berlanti and what he said, I'm disgusted. And let me tell you why I'm disgusted. Greg Berlanti is a gay man, and
is he?
I feel like he should know better than to do the whole, well, these four characters and one of them is gay, and it's just like I don't like when creators like breadcrumb us. I don't like it when they treat like representation like a scavenger hunt or like a frequently asked questions or whatever, where it's like, fun fact.
No, this is not the guy. This is not the guy. Like, I said Greg Bertinelli.
Oh, ooh. Okay. Well, let's pretend what I said was correct. Like, gross. Hated that. Don't love it.
Like, I'm looking it up right now. Like, because I'm pretty like I remember like having this like big thing I'm just gonna look up Young Justice, like showrunner, Um,
Okay, so if they're different people and the
Greg
guy.
Weissman. Greg Weissman.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, the B was just too similar. I know I had to do some guy. Okay, so I'm going to assume this is a straight guy doing it now. I still think it's bad. I don't like, I just thought it would be particularly bad if a gay man did it. But a straight man did it, okay, I get it. But that's still bad. Like, stop, don't breadcrumb us like that. Don't do that, babes. Give us the information or don't.
Yeah, and it's frustrating that they didn't do they just didn't do a very good job with the representation, and it's frustrating on a variety of different levels because I wanted better representation. Like the thing is, like for me, being told Bart was actually gay should have been like, oh my god, that's awesome, but it's to a guy he has no established relationship with, and I'm like.
He just happens to randomly be boyfriends with this random guy in this random episode in a plot unrelated to anything that Bart is in.
Which, like, you know, I'm gonna be fair, is par for the course for a lot of the relationships in this Young Justice TV show. But like, which shows you just the caliber of how poor the romance writing was. But like, the thing is,
do you remember what they did to Beast Boy, having him date this random blonde princess girl?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, like, she was set up before, but, like, not with Beast, like, she was, like, in the show, but not, like, as Beast, like, that was weird. That was, like, dumb on a variety of levels. Like, the thing is, they don't develop or set up any of these romantic relationships and then treat it as, like, oh, it's such a sweet thing, you should love this. I'm like, no, I don't really care. Or, like, because they don't invest in actual time in developing any of these couples in any meaningful way. And also, they're all straight. I'm sorry, but it's very frustrating to me that, like, none of the queer relationships really get any real development. And, like, Halo, like, the fact that it's not even really tellable Bart's queer in the show is its own problem. I don't want to talk too much about that anymore. But Halo was not handled well either. As a like, a lot of non-binary people I knew were very ripshit about this. I was not particularly happy about it either because, like they're like Halo keeps getting referred to in she/her terms even after they come out and say like they like they them as a term to like solely to refer to themselves really, and it becomes more frustrating that Halo's not technically human. They're a robot consciousness that has taken over the corpse of a Muslim girl, and that's just sorry, that's
kind
not
of
the representation.
yikes.
That's
yikes.
Like, I'm like, they could have just made it that she was brought back to life, and not a computer, like, you know, and like that, and that Halo, that they are non-binary, just as a person, but they're like very clearly not, like they died, like the person who they were before. And it's just weird. It gives us this underlying, like, it fits into the like a little bit of homophobic stereotypes about like the idea that we're parasites that just are taking over people's bodies and shit. You know, it's not.
Well, also that kind of idea that non-binary people are inherently less human because they're non-binary.
Yeah, it's very weird and unnecessary, and maybe you could have like hand-waved this away if you had more non-binary representation. But again, this show did not have a lot of queer representation that was very meaningful or like just at all in there, especially in comparison to how much they showed off the straight relationships all the fucking time. And that's really sad. That's unfortunate. Especially like. Because they did include Harper Row and did make her bisexual, and because Harper is like Blue Jay in the comic. She's a member of the Bat family. She's also bisexual, well, and that is but like at the same time I was like, I don't know, I just didn't care for this version of Harper Row because I didn't like at this point I don't care about any versions of these characters because the show is not paying any actual attention to them, and it's just DC the show instead of an actual Young Justice.
Yeah. Okay, now, I do want to carve out a little bit of time before we wrap up. I want to talk about some of the coded characters kind of quickly. Mainly, I've been waiting because everybody's been waiting for this because I've teased it in the thumbnail. It's Batman and Superman.
So
I know you have a lot to say.
So they've been heavily queer coded for like years and years. Like we said earlier, Midnighter and Apollo were based on them, but like there's been like comic issues where like Superman can hear Batman's heartbeat even across the world, and the only other person he can do that with is Lois Lane. Like, and like there's even like a bit of tidbits of that Superman's lore that like Kryptonians like can only do that with their soulmates. Like, so like he's a little bit like he's definitely a little bit in love with Superman or with Batman, and Batman like would like in several comics will like have breakdowns about if Superman is hurt or missing. Like even in the recent World's Finest run when Superman like sealed himself in to a demon dimension to get rid of this overpowered demon named Nezha. Like Batman's like beating down the wall and he's like, no, like crying, and he's like, Kara, get in there and help him. And then she's like,
Batman,
I know you
crying over a man.
And she's like, I know you loved him even more than I did, and this is her cousin, and literally the only surviving member of her family, and she's saying that he loves Clark more than she does, like that is like some heavy like levels of fruityism.
I know what you are, Batman.
Yeah, and Batman's like just so like obsessed, and like they're both obsessed with each other. There's even like a comic issue where it's like side by side with Superman with Lois and Batman with Catwoman, and it's literally just 7 pages of Batman talking to Catwoman and Clark talking to Lois about how much they love Batman and Superman, like love another man. It's like, he's everything I'm not, and he compliments me so perfectly. He's the shadow, he's the light. Like they're just like, it's fucking hysterical reading it through. Like, you're like, wow. And they're like, they literally even had an issue where they were like trading clothes with each other, and like Superman was dressing up as Batman.
Know it's over when they start sharing clothes.
Yeah, like they even shared a bed together in like some comics. Like they had a lot of things going on, and it's just like there's a lot of things going on with them, and like they've even like Nightwing is basically both of their child. Like Superman is a father figure, like literally a father figure to Nightwing, and even is the reason Nightwing's name is Nightwing. Like Nightwing is basically their like Batman's like has like weird co-parenting relationships with a lot of his kids with other superheroes, but like Nightwing is Superman and Batman's child. Like that he very much is both like both these men's son in many ways.
Nightwing is another can of worms because he's so
Why do they keep giving him Pride covers? He's not out, and they have given him 3 Pride covers in a row.
Why? You want to know why? It's because he may not be in the club, but we so desperately want him. So yeah, that's why.
Give these covers to Catwoman. She's the actual queer character. Give them to her. Oh my god, I'm just so fucking done with DC. If they give him another Pride cover, I am going to just burst into fucking fire. Like,
they're like, no. They're like, no, this is them in the boardroom. We could give Catwoman a Pride cover, but Devil's Advocate, Nightwing has a dump truck ass, so we're gonna put him on the Pride cover instead. Yeah.
It's like so sad because like the thing is he does have like fruity moments with Wally West a lot in the comic books. They even like would go on like yearly vacations together, and Wally canonically like checks on him hundreds of times a day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like literally like uses super speed, like I'm checking in on Nightwing, checking in on Nightwing, checking in on Nightwing. Like okay, he's okay. Like it just I find that a crack up thing. But it's frustrating to me that like Nightwing is like almost annoyingly put into this terrible relationship with Barbara Gordon, when like Barbara let her be like lesbian librarian like she used to be in the Birds of Prey, like get her out of the Batgirl suit, let her be she is aged past that. Like it's literally embarrassing seeing her be Batgirl at this point. Like she has moved past that mantle. She's grown. Like but Nightwing, like look, I do think Nightwing is queer coded, but the thing is, I'm just like, if you were going to give him pride covers, make him queer, give him a boyfriend. He doesn't even have to be dating the boyfriend at this present point in time. Just have it be that he has dated a man in the past, and that's it. That's literally it. Like that's all I'm asking for. Like just okay. I'm not asking for the moon. I will say that he is probably canonically like bisexual in the Gotham Knights video game. Because, like, in that video game, there's a specific line of dialogue where Barbara is, like, Tim is like, I don't know what to do about Bernard and, like, and how to, like, go about this. This is my first relationship with a man. And Barbara's like, oh, I'm always a mess in that department. You should ask Dick. And I'm like, wait, Barbara, are you really recommending to Tim that he ask Dick about how to date a man? Like,
well, I know what she meant. I know what she meant. She was like, you know, because he's a man, right?
No. She literally like said it like you know, I always had a terrible time dating men. You should ask Nightwing. And she wasn't talking about their past romantic relationship either. She was specifically citing like dating men. And Nightwing also
and this was the most recent Gotham Knights game.
Yeah, and Nightwing also has a cup that says Bloodhaven on it, and it has the bisexual pride flag on it. And it's in a specific cinematic scene exclusive to Nightwing, so it's not anyone else's cup. It's Nightwing's cup.
It's giving that DC just has a tweet ready to go confirming that he's bi, but they just will not hit publish.
Yeah, and there's another dialogue where like Tim is talking about wearing pride flags like on their capes during Pride Month, and Nightwing's like, Nightwing doesn't wear a cape, but he might one day, and so there's definitely the insinuation, and like I actually tweeted it. I remember I tweeted about this back when I was on Twitter, and this tweet blew up. Actually, it was one of them like when I was like, oh, so Nightwing's bi, and like it got like thousands and thousands of likes, and then the writer of the Gotham Knights video game liked the tweet. So
that's confirmation. That's confirmation. That's confirmation. That's confirmation at this point. Like, keep sitting here, folks. Like,
so like they're definitely, but like I mean, well, like there definitely is like intentionality to make Nightwing queer, but like there is like some roadblocks being put in that are preventing it in some way. Like, again, this is a character that's owned by a corporation, blah 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 blah. It's frustrating. I just want him to like date a man. Maybe like in 20 years they'll finally let him, but who knows?
Not when I'm 40. Not when I'm 40. Ew. I want to enjoy it now.
But like the unfortunate thing is like they don't, like they are so slow with letting out like queer characters come out. It's very, very like shitty and frustrating. Like they only just let out Alan. Oh, we didn't talk about Alan Scott. Shit.
Girl, let's talk about him.
Okay, so Alan Scott was the original Green Lantern. Like he was created in the 40s, and like he was not popular like at the time, and so Hal Jordan ended up becoming the Green Lantern, and they redid the entire Green Lantern lore. But Alan Scott like Alan Scott definitely was not planned as gay. Like he had 2 children, one of whom is a gay man, Todd Rice, aka Obsidian. But like the thing is, and like Todd is one of the oldest queer characters at DC Comics, and he does not get enough credit. And I actually don't. One of the few reasons I do not or at least I have not been an enormous fan. I still am happy to have Alan as representation, but I'm disappointed that Todd has kind of got totally sidelined in favor of his father coming out. The only reason Alan Scott was made gay, if I'm being honest, is because back during the New 52, they promised that there was going to be a prominent character who would come out as gay. And there was all this speculation, it made it circulate everywhere, and then it turned out to be Alan Scott of Earth 2.
Of Earth 2, that's the part though, of Earth 2.
Yep, not even the main universe Alan Scott. It was the alternate universe version of him. And it was also very, like, contrived, like, contrite, like, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna propose to my husband. No, he died in a train accident as I was proposing. And I'm like, so this is just barrier.
Side note, why do all of the Green Lanterns always lose their partners in horrific ways? They can't catch a break.
I mean, Jon Stewart, like, his wife getting murdered, coming home finding her stabbed to death. That, like, Kyle Rayner coming in finding his girlfriend in the refrigerator.
Like, the Green Lantern, like, if you're a Green Lantern, don't date a Green Lantern. You will die a horrific death.
Yep, yeah, like that is a seeming pattern. Like, literally, like, the woman in the refrigerator trope came from the Green Lantern lore. As a Green Lantern fan, I'm really sad and ashamed that that's part of our legacy. But but you know what? Like, Jessica deserved better. Like, Kyle Rayner's girlfriend deserved better. Why did I say Jessica? Her name is Alexandra. Alexandra DeWitt. Alexandra deserved better. And it's just very sad that, like, but the thing is, they only really made Alan Scott gay in the main universe to kind of, like, brush over that PR disaster from a decade before. I will say there has been some positives, because, like, the new Alan Scott comic has really gotten into what it's like to have been a gay man in that time period. And it has also, like, the current comic book that is written with him is actually really good. It's really, really good. But I'm still really frustrated that Obsidian is not getting any love and attention. And he deserves it. Because, he was the OG. And he's honestly probably, the reason they probably made Alan Scott of Earth 2 gay was because they were merging Todd and Alan into one character in that universe. So, but that's just my, like, I love Alan Scott. I love Todd Rice. I just like Todd to have a little bit more going on for him.
Yeah. Quite frankly, I don't have a lot of opinions on Alan Scott, so I won't even waste y'all's time. But while we're on the topic of Green Lanterns, how do we feel about the coded relationship between Hal Jordan Green Lantern and Barry Allen Flash?
Well, Hal Jordan's heavily queer-coded with a lot of different men in the DC lore. Like, it's not just Barry Allen. It's also Green Arrow. It's also Sinestro. I would make arguments for Guy Gardner, even Jon Stewart, or even moments with him in Batman, and are a little bit on the fruity side. But so, like, the thing is, there's even an alternate universe version of Hal named Hank Hallmark, who is married or is in love with this guy called Ray. And the thing is, the names are very obviously a reference to like Ray, Barry. You know, it's like just a remix of the letters. Like, and Hal, Hank. You know, it's same vein. Like, in their world, they're called Red Racer and Flashlight. Now, and they are
not Red Racer and Flashlight.
The thing is, like they're a gay couple, and they are really sweet together. In fact, honestly, Red Racer is more Barry Allen than the current continuity, because, like, the Red Racer is a huge comic book nerd. And, like, I'm like, this is Barry Allen. This is who Barry Allen was before they ruined him. And, like, he was, like, a huge little nerd, and that was, like, what the charm of him. Like, he was a big nerd. and he loved comic books a huge amount. But they've kind of lost sight of that. And the thing is, they actually killed off Ray in a Superman comic a while back, like back in 2016. They did recently, last year, bring him back to life, where Hank like rescues Ray and resurrects him, and
this Ray is not to get people confused with the character with light powers, the Ray. Different gay Ray.
Different gay Ray. Yeah, this is Red Racer, like from Earth 26 or something. I forget which Earth it is, but maybe 16. I don't know. But they are a gay relationship, and so the fact that and they've always had a very homoerotic tone to their relationship. Like Barry and Hal were always like running off together in the Silver Age of comics, and away from their girlfriends and doing superheroes. Like, it gave very heavy impressions of like two gay men who were gallivanting off together. And Carol and Iris were just kind of like their beards almost. It was like Carol and Iris definitely and Carol and Iris are like best friends in the comics as well. And it's actually kind of sad that relationship doesn't get as much focus. But that's just one thing to like add in there. But Hal also like has had a lot of very erotic, like Brokeback Mountain-y kind of stuff with Green Arrow in the comics. I just can't not.
I kind of find as a former CW fan, I find it hard to come to terms with the fact that Barry and Oliver and the comics universe seem to hate each other. So
they despise each other.
I hate that. I hate that as a CWX fan, but I guess that's what the tea is in that universe.
Yeah,
it's the lovers, I guess.
Like, in the comics, Barry, unfortunately, is very conservative, and Ollie is very, 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 very like, he is the most lefty that ever lefted.
Yes.
So, it's a big political clash between the two, and Hal's kind of, just sort of stuck in the middle of them. Which, depending on your perspective, could be fun. Like, if he,
Oh, in more ways than one.
Yeah, but, Hal is not, but it's a very complicated relationship. But Hal even brought Oliver Queen back to life. Like, literally rebuilt him atom by atom. Like, searched through the entire universe and found every single atom of his disintegrated body and reconstituted him together. Like, because he couldn't bear that the world would not have Oliver Queen in it. Like Hal is. You literally rebuilt him. You rebuilt his face, his chest, his dong, his ass, his leg.
Oh, wow. Well, when you put it like that.
You literally rebuilt your boyfriend. Damn. It's that cracks me up to pieces. And Hal also had a lot of heavy erotic things going on with Sinestro. Like, him and Sinestro, if you were to how when people are like, oh, the nemesis and the hero are in an erotic relationship, that is Hal and Sinestro. I think the only other example that's more embodiment of that is Dr. Doom and Mr. Fantastic. And Clark,
I thought you were gonna say Clark and Lex.
Oh, Clark and Lex was the other one I was going to list. Clark and Lex and Dr. Doom is Mr. Fantastic. You read anything with Dr. Doom, he is just frothing at the mouth over Reed Richards. He's like, oh, I want to strangle him, but I also want to make out with him. It's just, Dr. Doom is so fruity for Mr. Fantastic. It's hilarious. But in fact, they even were implied so in the DC superhero girls, Lex Luthor, no, not Lex, Sinestro and Hal, there's this great thing where, Carol is, dating this new guy and trying to make Hal jealous, and then she, dumps this guy named Thal, who's, the new guy, and she's like, I never loved you, and Thal's, the other guy's Thal's it's okay, Carol, because I never loved you either, and she's like, wait, what? And he's like, and the real reason I've always been here is Hal! And Jessica Cruz is like, wait, what? And then he unleashes himself and reveals, it is I, Sinestro! Like, here for revenge against Hal Jordan for ditching me, never calling me back. And I'm like, like, I was... And then Carol and Thal, like, are not even fighting each other. They start fighting against Hal together, and they're like, you know how inconsiderate you are, you're a terrible boyfriend. And, like, it's hysterical. It's awesome. It is the best drama. It's like, oof, oof, oof. Like, I was like, this is, like, entertainment. And then at the end, Hal's like, I'm sorry that I'm so great that I didn't realize how much I was depriving you of. And they all buy it, and then they, like, ride around in his arms and fly off into the sunset on a rainbow. And I'm like, okay, like, Hal Jordan dating Sinestro and Carol Ferris. I'm seated. Like, it's like, you gotta watch it. That's one of the like, DC superhero girls, like, these writers knew what they were doing, and I appreciate them for it. But I also want to, like, there also is a comic where, like, Sinestro was in the antimatter universe and was sleeping with Hal Jordan. Like, literally, they were, like, saying they were in love, and they were, like, caressing each other naked. It was a whole thing in one of these comics. It was the antimatter universe versions of them, but it's still them. And, but also Hal Jordan is also, like, been a character that has also sort of stepped outside his gender a little bit. In the Spectre comics, which is also a prominent comic because it was the first time Hal was canonically labeled as Jewish. But basically, like, Hal had, like, gone evil, but then was, like, trying to redeem himself as the Spectre. And Sinestro was, like, tracking him down and, like, goes inside, like, this mindscape of Hal's. And once he's inside, though, he runs into this, like, very feminine figure. Like, she's wearing, like, this, like, cut dress and, like, has, like, boobs and, like, is wearing this, like, very interesting veil. And it's revealed, like, this is the inner representation of Hal Jordan and who he truly is. And it's very clearly like giving an impression of a trans femme or gender fluid identity for Hal Jordan. And I don't know, it's just very fascinating that this was, like, an angle they went with for Hal's character. I don't know, I just really love it, and it's a comic that doesn't get enough attention or love, but it's a very important part of Hal's canon.
Yeah, the more you go into detail, the more I'm like, I kind of need an alternate version with Barry and Hal expeditiously, like, immediately. And I'll never get over, like, watching, cause, like, shout out to, like, the DC animated movie universe for that Flashpoint movie where in the Flashpoint, Barry's like, Mom, I have something to tell you. And she's like, yeah, babes, I know you're gay. And she's like, what? He's gagged. He's like, what? She's like, yeah, I saw I saw the photo on your desk. You're gay, babes.
like it was, I loved that moment so much, cause just like but you know, like he's like, Mom, it's not that, but like, it also, in that film, they specifically devote a moment where Barry witnesses the news about Hal dying. And I don't think that's a coincidence that within the same movie, I mean, Barry barely reacts to any of the other major deaths inside the Flashpoint universe, but they specifically sideline a thing off for him and Hal. And with that gay inference feels very specific. It's also, like, wait, I had something, like, also in the Lego, like, Flash movie, it opens, like, Barry's, like, trapped, like, is in a Groundhog Day situation, basically. And on his, like, this opening thing of the scene is literally a photo on Barry's bedside that's of him and Hal. And I'm like, Barry Allen, what are you doing with a picture of yourself and another man on your, like, I'm like, that is where you put pictures of your wife or girlfriend. That, like,
now, this is random, but I recently watched the Flash movie for the first time because it's on HBO Max and I never saw it when it was in theaters, so I watched it. I'm curious, did you like Ezra Miller's version of the Flash?
No. That's not Barry. That's not Barry Allen. That's just not Barry Allen. Like, they're just, like, doing Wally West. It's not, that's not, and it, like
you think, you think it gave Wally West? I don't think it even gave Wally West.
This was very much Wally West personality. He's like, oh, I'm funny, I'm weird, I'm making.
Oh, you mean the younger? Like, you mean the younger version of him than when he was collegey? Okay, got it. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not Barry Allen. It was very annoying. I didn't like the performance at all. Oh, and but also I'm gonna be very upfront here. I don't like Ezra Miller. So yeah, that like I don't. I'm not interested in rehashing any of the details about them and all the nonsense that they have. I'm just not interested, and I'm not interested in. But like, if there's gonna be a bunch of commentators being like, "Well, they actually like no, like they've never been actually exonerated from any of the things." Like, I'm done. I'm not talking about Ezra anymore. Like, I'm just here like being like, look, Barry Allen is a fruit, and he loves Hal Jordan, and Hal Jordan loves him, and Hal Jordan also loves Sinestro and Guy Gardner. And like, and Oliver Queen, and like Hal Jordan just loves a bunch of different men. He does.
He's a big old fruit salad. He loves all the fruits.
It's why he's so green.
Yeah. All right. Was there anybody that we missed?
I think we should go over Boostle and maybe Beatora.
Okay, let's start with Boostle.
Yeah. So, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, probably one of the most like the closet is made of glass situations in comic books. Like they're just married. Like there's no way. Like literally. Booster Gold has like gone back into like literally torn time apart trying to save Blue Beetle multiple times when he's like doomed to die and shit. And like in various different alternate universes, like the Injustice universe, the main comic book canon. In it like he is down bad for Blue Beetle, and like the thing is, I get it. Ted Kord's got the riz, like he's got it. Like I don't know what it is, but I'm just like. Every time he talks, I'm like, I don't know why, but I just want you to pick me up in your arms and like smooch me. Like he's got this like sexy nerd thing going. I don't know what it is. But like they just have this very complicated and very meaningful bond. Like they are ride or die for each other, and like they understand each other, they call each other out, but they also believe in each other and see the potential and hold each other to a higher standard, while also being the only ones that can really like let their guard down. Like they have just a very beautifully deep relationship, and they're actually canonical in the Teen Titans Go TV show. So win for that show.
Yeah. That's cute. Booster Gold, I find him, I kind of, no shade, I know there's some Booster Gold fans out there. I find him kind of boring. But I am here for the relationship with him and Ted Kord, so.
I gotta send you some of the comic recommends to, like, cause he's just such a goofball. He's hysterical.
Who was the other one you mentioned? Was it Fire and Ice?
Yeah, Beatora. Yeah. Yeah.
I love Fire and Ice. I think they deserve more love. I don't know why we don't have more Fire and Ice things.
Like like I'm so disappointed they didn't come out in the recent comic book. Like it was very frustrating, especially like having Bia hook up with Lobo. I'm like, no.
Lobo.
Lobo,
but that's Superman's girl.
Like space biker Lobo. I'm like, Bia, I will get you out. I mean, like, you know, like Lobo's like everybody's man. Like he's like anyone who will have him's man. But like, I don't know. Just Bia and Tora have always had this...
Clark has dibs.
Clark's been around. He's got Lois. He's got Batman. He's got Lex Luthor. Like Lex
I
Luthor.
like to think that Clark, with his heat vision, put his mark on Lobo. Lobo was specifically his.
Just like he's
that's
like.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. He put his, his mark on him. That's his.
I just think Lobo is made like built for men. Honestly, like he just has that vibe to him. But the thing is, I just on Bia and Tora, they've always had this very deep, intimate friendship and bond, and where it's almost codependent, which is also like such an interesting flaw to their relationship that it really feels easy to gravitate towards. But it's unfortunate that it feels like they're not willing to just let it be queer, which was extra frustrating because they threw a lot of queer elements into the recent comic, like background gay characters. But I'm like, look, I appreciate the effort on one level, but on another level, it just kind of makes me more frustrated because I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm not here for a bunch of background gay characters, civilians that we're never going to fucking see. I am here because I want like the characters that I've read several dozens of issues on to actually be ideally made canonical. And if they're not going to be made canonical, do you really need to have them in this weird shack up thing? I don't know. Just Bia and Tora are like, especially like the wider, like the only people who care about Bia and Tora anymore are like the gay fans who want them. Like we are the only ones who care about them. So like what, like it's
but
not
we
like
deserve them, so we deserve to have them just because we want them.
Yeah, and honestly, and like even the Justice League animated series made inferences to Bia being a lesbian, and when Wally West was like, oh, he's like, and then like Shayera is like, you know, I heard she's, and then Wally's like, and like Brazilian. and he's like, oh, ha ha, and I'm like, well, yeah,
no,
she is
because
a lesbian.
Wally in that show. For y'all who don't know, I'm currently reacting to that show right now with Fat Man Falling, and Wally is just our precious baby boy. Like we have adopted Wally. Wally is our son on that show. Like he is so. Like when I think of Wally West, I don't even think of Young Justice Wally West because he ain't shit. I think of this version of Wally West. Yeah.
Yeah, that version of outside the comics, especially I love the voice actor is like the guy who played Lex Luthor.
Yeah. But it's like he has range.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, Klex. I guess that's a good transition into Klex. Like, okay, so Clark and Lex in the comics, very homoerotic, but Smallville, like, damn, like what was going on with that?
I still gotta watch Smallville. I feel like for me they have the most sexual tension in of course Justice League animated show. In the DCEU it was ridiculous. That man being Lex Luthor was blasphemous. It was gross. I threw up in my mouth a little. It was bad. I didn't like it at all. It was quite disgusting. But generally when I want like Klex content, I go to Superman the Animated Series, I go to Justice League Unlimited, specifically because I feel like Lex has such like a little sexy accent like in that show. I feel like every word he says he's trying to seduce somebody in that show, and I'm just like, please, yes, more.
it's I like he's got this like the voice actor. I can't remember his name right now. Is it Keith David? No. What is,
No, Keith David. Not Keith David at all. I'm like, that's...
no, not Keith David, but like it's the other old guy who's like does a lot of great voice acting. What is his name? He does. He's Mr. Krabs. He's Mr. Krabs. Like, and he was in Mr. Krabs' voice actor, Clancy Brown. Like Clancy Brown. I don't know. I love his voice. And also, there's like so many Superman and like there's this like Superman cover where like he's captured by Lex Luthor, and there's all this like he's like all these like Krypton beams, and like Superman's like struggling like and there's like this huge deep cut on the suit across Superman's crotch, like right above his dong, and I'm like Lex, like what are you doing? And then there was even that that art like by like a guy who worked on the Superman the Superman animated series. What was his name? Bill Fishman? I think it was Bill Fishman. No, or was it Brad Rader? Oh yeah, Brad Rader. He drew that like pink kryptonite like Superman like all tied up, and like Lex like rubbing it like his thigh, and like Superman had like a humongous bone. Like I was like, what? Like just like, and
that might be a little too spicy for the girls. I looked it up. So for Flash, actually, Michael Rosenbaum, who actually played Lex on Smallville, played Wally.
Yeah. It like he had range. He did a great job. But yeah, like I don't know, just like Clark and Lex have always had like been a representation of like Clark is like the potential of anyone to do good, but Lex is like someone who takes a cynical viewpoint, like thinking no one is actually that good. But like what's so fascinating about Lex is when he starts to really believe in Clark. And when Clark will go to the ends of the earth to protect Lex because he believes every human life is worth living. Like there's even a comic that by Mark Waid called The Last Days of Lex Luthor, where like Lex has cancer and is dying, and Clark is trying to find a means of curing and saving him.
Yes, I remember that plot line because that was in the show too. And as soon as he found out, Clark was like, "What can I do to help?" And I'm like, "Oop, you're in love with him."
Yeah, like and the comic is so beautiful and meaningful, and it really shows like the compassion that exists within Clark, but also like how the potential for Lex, like as a human being, even in his work, like he is supposed to represent humanity's worst in many ways, but like that you can still find hope and believe in. And like there's a genuine emotional theme and bond between them that I can't help but be just fascinated by. It's a toxic relationship, but it's fascinating, and it still is like has a lot of levels to it.
Yeah. I need a drink because I forgot what I was gonna say.
It's been we've been talking for what now? 2 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah, like it's been a long one.
It's been a long one, hunty. All right. Did we? At this point,
I think we did a healthy covering.
If we missed anybody, we'll do a part 2 one day. I feel like we've gotten most of the good girly. I feel like we've gotten most of the girlies. Yeah.
We covered a lot.
So, I know you're not on Twitter anymore, but can people still find you on social media, or are you off social media?
I'm just kind of like, this is my only real thing I'm doing on social media anymore. Like it's like Discord. I'm on Discord a little bit, but like, look, I'm just focusing on my work. and whatnot. Like it's and you know I'm reconnecting with a lot of like people like IRL friends and right now, and also I'm playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 1, probably more than I should be. So, but you know I appreciate anyone who listened in and comment, subscribe, leave a like, follow Maxwell. Oh, he's a great guy. Love talking with him. Love being here with him.
Yeah. What? I was gonna say something else. Oh, I guess you've heard it here. This is the only for y'all because I every time we post one of these, I always get comments. Well, most of the time I get comments talking about, "Oh, Al, you're so great. You're so this. You're so that. You're so insightful." If you want to see more of him, you got to keep coming back. So, because you heard it from him, he's exclusively over here. He's nowhere else. So, y'all got to tune in. Next time it'll be the February episode. So I have something planned for that. That should be fun. But until then, guys, if you want to leave tips, if you want to join the Discord, any of that, all that's going to be down in the description. And y'all have a great day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. This has been Maxwell Media Inc. I'm your host, Maxwell. May the power protect you. Bye bye.